studio. It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. The Sportsocracy is heard everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app. And you can see us live in the Ingles studio on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel. Join us in the chat, and it is Super Bowl week. Welcome in, everybody.
Woo! Everybody just super giddy about this Super Bowl matchup? Because I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm not.
And I don't understand why. Is it just is it that much whiplash of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, I'm tired of everything Mahomes other than Pat. I don't mind him. I'm tired.
I mean, well, even he can't stay out of the news. So.
Well, that's Pat Sr. Pat Jr., he doesn't bother me at all. Everything attached to you, I'm good. I don't need to hear about your wife. I don't need to hear about your moron brother. Apparently your dad does crimes sometimes. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care. Just get me to the draft. I don't care. Somebody raise the trophy and get on with it.
Oh, my gosh. He is coming off the hangover here from the Senior Bowl all week last week in Mobile, Alabama.
The hangover was gone by Saturday. It was a long drive home, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Although we did make it in an amount of time that would probably shock you. My father more than once told me, this is the lane for criminals. And every time he got behind a car that was doing less than, 95, this is the criminal lane.
Yes.
You, minivan, get out of it.
Slower traffic, keep to the right. Did you zipper merge while you were gone?
We didn't merge at all. You know what we did? Prepare to qualify. Then he listened to a North Carolina Duke game, and I personally was making all of my arrangements in my head to meet the other side.
Oh, really?
We came through Atlanta doing a speed that I'm not sure was any longer registering on the speedometer.
What, was he trying to make it home by halftime or something?
Okay, I didn't pay this off when I told this to him earlier. It is 637 miles from where we stayed in Mobile, Alabama, to my house.
Uh-huh.
Actually, this was from the stadium because we left from the game. We made it in 7 hours and 13 minutes.
Holy cow.
You do the math on that. We stopped one time for gas. It took 4 minutes. It was a NASCAR pit stop.
Wow.
I brought out 2 pieces of pizza. He was pulling the nozzle out of the gas tank. We got in it simultaneously, and I swear to you, I heard our crew chief go, 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 go.
Rick, don't mess around.
No,
I like it.
that was I did the calculations on it. If I hadn't lived it, I wouldn't think it was even kind of possible. But it did, and I can prove it.
Mullet Senior going full.
Mullet Senior channeled his inner Dale Earnhardt. Like, If you ain't first, you're last. Oh, let's go.
Well, I'm glad you guys got home safely.
Me too, because I'm not going to lie. I felt like Hubert Davis going, we're playing real fast right now. This could burn us if we're not careful.
Jeremy's got all of the highlights, and we're going to have the all Senior Bowl team coming up in the 1 o'clock hour.
2 of them follow me on Twitter now. No big deal.
The players?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
They both go to the same school. But, look, it was a great week. I appreciate you holding the fort down, making sure things didn't explode. Big ups to Brian Haynes and Chris Womack and Doug Maurer and all the guys that helped facilitate this show while I was gone, because that was awesome.
Yeah.
There are a lot of stories that, well, I'm never going to be able to tell them into this microphone. I've told them away from this microphone a lot. I may have drank a copious number of beverages with many people that are way more famous than me. One of whom had recently been fired. And I have a story that I could never tell, ever. It's Sheskies.
We'll have all of Jeremy's wrap-up Senior Bowl coverage coming up for you in the 1 o'clock hour. Daily draft is going to be stock up, stock down from the Senior Bowl as well.
I mean, I feel like this is a great time to say, where did I just come from? Where was I for a week?
Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah, for what event?
For the Senior Bowl.
I feel like that's a great time for a Senior Bowl mock draft.
Oh, there you go. Mock draft coming tomorrow? All right.
I'll have 7-rounders done, I hope, by the end of the week. Because I'm not going to lie, there's now about 400 guys in this class that I'm like, I want him to play for my team. Mullet Sr. is now is going through like 3 days of depression that the Jets aren't going to draft Devondre Sweat. No, we did that last year. Don't need any more defensive linemen.
No.
Give me an offensive lineman,
Yes.
and there are a lot of them.
I mean, Talise Fawaga or Tyler Guyton or...
Tyler Guyton is the thinnest 330-pound man I've ever seen in my life. I commented to somebody. I was like, doesn't he feel thin? Because I just stood next to him. And all 3 people I said that to went, do you know what he weighed in at? He was 6'6", 334, I think.
Wow. Muscle weighs more than fat.
Well, then they all looked at me and went, well, you're the only one of us that looks like you could have played in this game at some point because we're all little fellers. So.
You just thought he'd be bigger.
He was thinner than me. 334 pounds, he was thinner than me.
Wow.
Also, warrior.
Let that be known. We got to talk about Ben Johnson at some point as well. We'll talk about that later on in this hour. The AC Reynolds grad. Yeah, he said all the headlines, or caught all the headlines last week when he decided to go back to Detroit, but now apparently we know why.
We're learning more
the
why.
Fun game of that Jeremy likes to play of who wants you to know that. I
set the record straight in Mobile with a couple people that I felt like they may have misreported this. It's the way the news cycle works. When nobody ever wants to be wrong, and instead of just saying, "Hey, you know what? You try to play good. You want to play good. I didn't play so good." Something greater had to happen, and he wanted too much money, and it wasn't the lock that you said he was. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was, and I can confirm that. We'll do that later in the show.
It is Super Bowl week, though. Sunday is the culmination of the 2023 NFL season and the 2024 NFL playoffs. And everybody just seems to be upset about it.
This is the most listless Super Bowl I think I've ever seen.
And I still don't get it.
You're
just tired of seeing the same 2 teams?
Yeah, no doubt. This is exactly what you thought you would get, minus Baltimore. All right, so we talked about its collision course, Baltimore, San Francisco.
Yeah.
Okay, well, San Francisco went right through. Nobody wanted them to. Outside of 49er fans, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to watch Brock Purdy play in this game. I don't care because I know how this is going to happen.
You know what? We all know Brock Purdy's going to let him down.
I don't know that it's Brock Purdy.
Somebody put it in the chat earlier. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, Christian Sorensen. KC is going to win. Purdy's going to choke. That seems to be.
I don't know that I think it's Purdy. It's more Kyle Shanahan for me. Yeah, I've read this book more than once. Never ends the way you want it to.
Until it does. I mean, his day could come at some point. He could, and I feel like this is the best opportunity that he's had. I feel like this is the best team that he's had in the last 4 years.
I've been gone a week. I'm trying my best to be a nice man. A little burnt. Got a little sun. Mm-hmm. Explain to me how this is the best team he's had.
What do you mean?
Okay, explain to me how this is the best team he's had. I keep hearing that. Mm-hmm. San Francisco's never had a better opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Do me a favor. Where are they better right now than the last time we played this game?
Are their weapons not better than they were?
The same weapons they had.
Are they, though? I mean, they've gotten a little better. I mean, I would say Brandon Ayuk's way better than he was 4 years ago.
Brandon Ayuk's just being used the way he should have been used 4 years ago.
Okay.
That falls on Kyle Shanahan.
Well, that makes him better.
Not really.
Okay.
They're still the same talent, but they're still coached by the same dum-dum that couldn't figure out how to use them. None of that's changed.
Brock Purdy better than Jimmy Garoppolo or no?
Not to me.
Okay.
To me, they're the exact same guy. Brock Purdy just never turns the ball over. Of which there's a merit to that. That is better than Garoppolo. Is he more talented? No. Is the offensive line better? Oh, God, no. It's not even close, as a matter of fact. Defense, is that better? No. Linebackers are the exact same. Defensive line is less than it was.
Is it?
Yeah, you're still playing Javon Kinlaw. That tells me it is not as good as the last time you were in the Super Bowl. Secondary, okay, you added Talise Hufanga. Okay. Do I think a box safety is really what's going to change this? To me, this is a lather, rinse, repeat of what we have already done. I am looking at a Pat Mahomes that is coming through a much better conference, that is much more battle-tested. And, oh, by the way, I just watched this San Francisco team get their brains beat out of the back of their skull for 30 minutes. And then Detroit, well, they lost their minds. So in a lesser conference, you were getting absolutely plastered. And you expect me to think that team's going to beat Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes? Yeah, I don't. And I think the fact that they're a 2.5-point favorite is quite possibly the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my life.
I just feel like these teams, I feel like they match up really well against each other. Because San Francisco's biggest weakness defensively would be what?
Secondary.
And Kansas City's biggest weakness is their wide
receivers.
receivers. So I don't know. I just feel like maybe the matchup, maybe San Francisco's not better than they were 4 years ago. Personnel wise, man for man, top to bottom.
All right,
but I feel like the opportunity to win is greater.
Okay, so I have to, and I'm not picking on Stephen Towle here. I promise.
Yeah.
But he said something that I have been waiting to say for a week. Said people love hating on Brock. He was the, in capital letters, last pick in the draft. Here's the problem, and this is where all the Brock Purdy apologists lose this. In the Super Bowl, I don't give a damn where you were drafted. Because now you're not the last pick in the draft. You're not Mr. Irrelevant. You're the NFC representative starting quarterback in the Super Bowl, and you're going up against the best, most talented quarterback I've ever seen. You're at a deficiency there, and it's a gross one at that.
Yes.
See, all that falls apart when you go to the Super Bowl. I don't care where you were drafted. The value and all those things, it doesn't matter anymore. This is how Tom Brady kept winning Super Bowls, because he kept going up against Jared Goff. Yeah, Tom Brady's better than that. Well, he was the number one pick. Don't care. Do not care, does not matter, does not mean squat. And that's the problem for me. I just, and I'm not trying to sound like a know-it-all here, even though that's what I am. You tell me where I've been wrong on this from pillar to post. I told you the AFC was going to be a gauntlet.
Yeah.
And I felt like Baltimore's being coronated here, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco, I don't know who can beat you. There's nobody in that conference that doesn't have a wart so big that if you saw him at a diner, you'd go, wart. That wart. Every one of them has that. So you came through the lesser talented conference. You struggled to do that. It took two of the luckiest second halves I've ever seen just to get you here.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're telling me that team's going to be Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid? I don't buy it. Could it happen? Sure. A broke watch is right twice a day. A blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. He also finds a power line every once in a while, and that doesn't quite go so well when he chews down on it. I don't think Kansas City's going to blow him out. You said these two teams match up well. You're right. I don't see a path that this game finishes with more than I'll say a 10-point deficit, because these are the two that I look at. I got the better team doesn't blow teams out. The lesser team doesn't get blown out, ever. Unless it's by Baltimore.
Right.
The team that Kansas City just walked in their stadium. And that's kind of where I'm getting to. You asked why nobody's interested. Because I feel like it's going to be a carbon copy of what I've already seen.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see Detroit. I got hyped up for Detroit. I got hyped up for Baltimore. I got hyped up for several other things, to be quite honest with you. And then this is what we got. I mean, yeah, if you're a Kansas City Chief fan, I totally understand why you're so excited and so locked in. If you're a San Francisco 49er fan, yeah, I totally get it. I understand why you're locked in. Your team's in the Super Bowl. As a Jet fan, I'll tell you, it may never happen again in your life. Depends on how many deals with Satan your quarterback makes while he's in Vegas. Hey, Brock, if you could make one of those deals, maybe get us out of it, that'd be just awesome.
But for the rest of us, you don't think that there's enough interest to keep people? I mean, there's always going to be interest because it's the Super Bowl.
Oh, I mean, a bajillion people are going to watch this.
Yeah.
I think the halftime show is a great microcosm of the game.
Okay.
Is Usher a bad artist?
No.
No, but you see how you said that?
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's not bad.
He had a couple of hits 20 years ago.
I mean, I'm sure sometimes I've made some memories with some of his music playing in the background, but it doesn't mean I'm excited to hear it as the Super Bowl halftime show. You're good. You're fine. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Is it
Get me to the draft. This is a good draft. I want to talk about it.
Is it because everybody's just so tired of the Kansas City Chiefs story? Because it was Stephen Tao sent us the message earlier today. He was listening to Dan Patrick, and Dan Patrick was talking about how the Kansas City Chiefs are America's team now. This morning, as I was pulling my sound bites for the sports on 570, had a big long soundbite from Bob Costas. Said the exact same thing. This is America's team now. They're being anointed because they're the most popular game in town. Does it have something to do with Travis Kelce's girlfriend? Obviously it does.
That doesn't help anything. I don't think that has as much of a... It has a role for certain people. I don't think it's as many people as people think. I have a theory on why this is.
Okay.
All right, San Francisco is the Nilla wafer of the NFL. There is absolutely nothing sexy about you. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City, on the other hand, I have a theory on why we're all so tired of this. We'll talk about it after the break.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
All right, people, it's Valentine's Day. Everything has to be perfect. Yes,
At Ingalls, we know that not every Valentine's Day is 4-star perfection, with string quartets and swanky restaurants.
My boyfriend bought me flowers.
That it's not the money you spend or the elaborate lengths you go to.
Happy Valentine's Day.
It just has to come from the heart. Ingalls, we're with you every step of the way.
New year, new hiring needs? Indeed's end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a new Samsung Galaxy A15 for just $99. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah! Good talk.
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. In-store activation on single Silver Unlimited plan or higher required. Family plan discount with 4 lines all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
This is Cam Jordan, All-Pro defensive end with the New Orleans Saints. I'm known for my work on the field, but I also do work on the mic as host of the Off the Edge with Cam Jordan podcast. Whether it's great football combos with all pros like the Eagles' Darius Slay, the Steelers' Cam Hayward, or the Raiders' Max Crosby, or it's fire music takes. The Off the Edge with Cam Jordan podcast is your ultimate playbook for all things football and not football. Get new episodes every Wednesday through the playoffs and Super Bowl 58. Listen on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com, your one-stop custom apparel shops.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need, and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
We're back counting down to kickoff. Let's look at today's 3 keys to premium pre-gaming with Beast Unleashed, presented by Monster Brewing. Number 1, beat the heat.
Unleash the beast with bold, familiar flavors, 0 caffeine, and 0 sugar.
Number 2, running the option.
There's 4 to choose from: White Haze, Peach Perfect, Scary Berries, and my personal favorite, Mean Green.
And number 3, at 6% ABV, Max Protect.
Always drink responsibly, and you must be 21 or over.
Beast Unleashed, available at your local retailer.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
Back in the Eagles studio on ESPN Asheville, this is the Sportsocracy. It is Super Bowl week. And Jeremy, you said going into the break that there's nothing sexy about San Francisco.
Well, I mean, their last 2 quarterbacks have been, as a less than attractive man myself, their 2 quarterbacks have been pretty attractive. But in terms of watching them play, I'm good. I've seen it. It's like the San Francisco 49ers to me are like Fast and the Furious movies. It's flashy. I've seen it. Okay, I've read this book. I know how this goes. You've got Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. You got all this pre-snap motion, all this cute nonsense. Then you play a team that's in your weight class, and you get the pee-pee beat out of you. Not used to being back on radio yet. That was the first one.
Good for you.
Be one of at least 3 that happens for the days over. I just don't care. I think where we get worn down is with Kansas City, and it's because Kansas City is exactly what we want our teams to be. Mm-hmm. Most of us in our lifetime will never see our team, unless you're a Patriots fan, or you're a Cowboy fan in the 90s, or you're a 49er fan in the 80s. You're never going to see your team go through the success that Kansas City's having. It's almost a jealousy, which is part of what I think the issue is with people with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
No doubt about it.
You're both attractive. You're both very wealthy. You're on television all the time, and you're exactly what we want to be, but we're not. Mm-hmm. Well, Kansas City as a team is the same thing. All right, I've never seen my team make the playoffs 4 years in a row. Kansas City's been in the AFC Championship game 6 years in a row. That's all it is. It's jealousy. You get tired of it because I'm going up against a team who's going to have a better coach than me, better coaching staff than me, better quarterback than me, better offensive line than me every single year. And it ain't stopping anytime soon. I've heard all these tales about Andy Reid and, well, this could be Andy Reid's last year. Let me go ahead and tell you something. Let's just say it is. The next coach is going to be real good, too. I got to listen to like 5 solid days of Fox News, so I'm doing that Joe Biden whisper thing at least 3 times before this day is over. Stop whispering the most important part. Doesn't make any sense.
I agree with Bob Costas and Dan Patrick when they say Kansas City is America's team now.
I disagree vehemently.
They should be. The New England Patriots were
they ever
America's team for a while.
They
were the bandwagon team.
What does that mean, though? America's team. What that means? 8% of fans like you. The other 92% hate you.
Pretty much.
That's because I don't agree with that at all.
Really?
America's team to me would have been more the Detroit Lions. The team that everybody can get on board with. Kansas City, nobody's getting on. And that's the problem. We got 2 entities here that the other 30 teams, we're all jealous of what you're doing. I can't look at Kansas City or San Francisco and go, yeah, let's root for the spunky little underdog.
I feel like when they say America's team, it's the most popular team, right? It was the Cowboys of the 90s, and then they never really relinquished it. But over the years, there have been teams that have tried to claim that. The Green Bay Packers tried to claim that for a while, and then you've had now the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots. When you're winning at the top, you're going to be the most popular team. You're going to have the most jersey sales. You're going to have the most ticket sales, the most sellouts, all that kind of stuff. That's what they're talking about when they say America's team. Kansas City is the most identifiable team, I would say, in the world right now. Because Taylor Swift is not a U.S. brand. she's a worldwide brand.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why the NFL has leaned into this. It's been like unless you believe the conspiracy theories, this has been a happy accident for the NFL. Travis Kelce came out and shot his shot. Remember, we did all the stories of he went to the concert and gave the bracelet and all of that. Then they started dating. Now she goes to every game. Of course, they're going to show her on television.
There are some really solid I got to hear some awesome conspiracy theories about Travis Kelce while I was in Mobile.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
I will say 10% of media thinks this is all fabricated. Like that they hold hands and they do the whole thing and then they get it. They go behind some building and they get in cars that go in opposite directions.
Could be. You don't know, but you don't know what's in those kids' hearts, right?
Look, they're
just in love. And she's just there pulling for her boyfriend.
Look, as a man that I feel like I was on the ground floor of hashtag birds aren't real. I love a good conspiracy. I'll confirm that for you in the next hour, by the way. I love a good conspiracy, but that's not it. Mm-hmm. Andreas Pinckney has a really good line in the YouTube chat.
Okay.
So the thing that annoys me about Taylor Swift is not really her. It's the god-awful commentary we've had to hear every game she's at. It's so forced and takes focus off the game. That's the point. And that's the problem with San Francisco. It's the problem with Brock Purdy. It's the problem with Pat Mahomes. It's the problem with Andy Reid. It's the problem with Taylor Swift. It's the problem with Kansas City Chiefs. Is that they're so popular and they're so good, and we've known this was coming for so long. Because really, we said this. Do you remember when we got to like week 12? And I said there are 4 teams in the NFL. You can give me those 4 teams, and you can have the field, and I'll bet my house on it. Do you remember who those 4 teams were?
It was Baltimore. It was Kansas City, it was San Francisco, and who's the other one? It was an AFC team, wasn't it? Wasn't it Buffalo?
I think at that time it was Cincinnati because I had bought into the Cincinnati bandwagon of that even with Jake Browning, it's going to be just – or maybe I think that was after they beat San Francisco. And Burrow was still healthy, and I went, no, they survived. You didn't kill them. You should have stuck the stake in their heart. That 4th team kind of revolved.
It did.
But the top 3, that didn't change for about 11 weeks.
No,
because I can't write off Kansas City. Mm-hmm. San Francisco is the best team in the NFC. Baltimore's the best team in the AFC. It was so predictable. And now we've done this for so long that you feel like it's being beaten into your forehead. And so there's just nothing here. There's nothing here. I heard a couple that do a podcast I listen to that are out on Radio Row in Las Vegas, and they were dumbfounded this morning. Now, granted, it was 7 o'clock in the morning, which I feel like they didn't entertain that enough. Like, there's only like 20 people here. Yeah, there's going to be. Look, Media Row will be just fine. The attendance will be just fine. The number of people there will be just fine. The attendance will be just fine. But this is going to be a Super Bowl that's, I have a feeling, like some of the others we've had in the past. It just kind of blends in to the background. And we've had so many good ones, so many years in a row, we're not prepared for that. Last year was epic. We've had 3 epic Super Bowls in the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's happening here. This has a weird feeling of it's going to be Cardinals Steelers. You remember that game?
Not really.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that? It had a lead change with 52 seconds left. Mm-hmm. The game was fantastic, but nobody cared. Because you had one super popular team, one spunky little upstart. The spunky little upstart didn't win. Pittsburgh is what we all want our teams to be, and you forget about it. And I think that's exactly how this is going to be. I won't be shocked if 3 years from now we're looking back on Super Bowl history this very week going, yeah, who was it that played in 24? Oh, yeah, that was the Taylor Swift Bowl. And you have to think about it because it's not just right there on the tip of your tongue.
Could be. Or it could come down to the wire, be one of the best games that we've seen. Patrick
Arizona,
Mahomes
Pittsburgh
has to make the comeback, or San Francisco finally gets it done.
But you're missing the point of what I'm saying. Pittsburgh, Arizona did that same thing. Mm-hmm. You can't even remember the game. The average fan can't remember the game.
No.
Because you didn't have any vested interest in it. Mm-hmm. Red Sea said, one of our resident Cardinal fans said, thanks for breaking my soul, Jeremy. I did not mean to do that. I was heavily on your side. I didn't bet on your side, but my emotional heartstrings were with you.
Right. I'm tired of the derision toward the game. And I feel like maybe it's not Kansas City that should be America's team. I feel like San Francisco should be America's team here. They've been to the NFC Championship game or to the Super Bowl 3 out of the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
With a chance to get it done against the big bad dynasty that is now the Kansas City Chiefs. Why is San Francisco not America's team right now? Why are we not galvanizing ourselves behind San Francisco like I feel like we would have done with Detroit? Is it just because they've been here?
Oh, yeah. You've had plenty of chances. Sorry, you're not getting well, maybe they can finally get over the hump this year. To hell with your hump, okay? Your hump is nothing compared to the sadness that those Detroit Lions, my Jets, the Cleveland Browns, the Arizona Cardinals, I could do this for a minute.
It's the problem.
Sorry, you're not like us. You can try to act like you are because you haven't won a Super Bowl since 1994. You're not like us, all right? You're one of the haves, just like Kansas City is. And guess what? Kansas City wasn't. We loved Kansas City. They hadn't been here since the 70s, and now they've got Mahomes, and now they've got Andy Reid, and we were behind it. And now I have figured out that lasts for 5 years. And then we're done. Because now that have-not has become a have. San Francisco's always been a have. When you get two halves, America doesn't in large part care because we don't know who to root for. It's two sides of the same coin.
I think everybody should just root for San Francisco.
You know what I'm rooting for?
I feel. Root for CMC. Root for the guy that doesn't have a trophy.
I'm good. I'll root for domestic lights and having a whale of a time at the Village Porch, which is where I will be. We have not talked about that. You will be there?
We will be convening at the Village Porch.
We will both be at the Village Porch, 51 North Merriman Avenue. I will be there all day. My goal is to have more beverages on Super Bowl Sunday than I had on Senior Bowl Wednesday. That is a super high bar.
Yikes.
Way up there.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. So apparently come to the Village Porch on Sunday. Hang out with us for the big game. Jeremy will do our best to make sure that he walks out.
I don't live far from there. So if I have to walk, I can.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
I don't know how you don't enjoy this for this time of year unless you like the snow and the ice and the cold. None of that in sight. How about even warmer temperatures after 55 today, 55 tomorrow, mostly sunny both days, overnight lows in the upper 20s. Wednesday will be near 60, sunny. Thursday will be near 60 and mostly sunny. And Friday will cloud over with highs in the mid-50s. Meteorologist Ray Stidgick from the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by Apple Tree Superstore.
Apple Tree Superstore is committed to offering you professional service and a great experience. Brand new Hondas, brand new Acuras, and a large selection of local trade-ins all on one lot. Apple Tree Superstore, online at appletreesuperstore.com and located I-26 at Airport Road, Asheville.
Asheville Smiles Cosmetic and Family Dentistry is hosting a Fall in Love with Your Smile Invisalign scan event on Wednesday, February 14th. You're going to get a free simulated 3D scan to show how your teeth could look after an Invisalign treatment. This event is going to be so fun with giveaways that include discounts, local gift cards, and one lucky person can even win half off treatment. Attendees are going to get the best price on Invisalign in North Carolina. Visit AshevilleSmiles.com today to reserve your spot at the Fall in Love with Your Smile event.
Get ready for the big game with the free iHeartRadio app. Pre-game with perfectly tailored playlists like Big Game Party and more. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Big Game, and listen now. Make the big game great with iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good. Get ready for our 2024 iHeart Podcast Awards, presented by The Hartford, live at South by Southwest. March 11th, we'll honor the very best in podcasting from the past year, and you'll help decide who wins Podcast of the Year. Vote now at iHeartPodcastAwards.com.
The Hartford Small Business Insurance is the presenting partner of the 2024 iHeart Podcast Awards, live at South by Southwest. To learn more or start a quote, visit thehartford.com/small business. With insurance designed for your small business, the Bucks got your back.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
All right, people, it's Valentine's Day. Everything has to be perfect.
At Ingalls, we know that not every Valentine's Day is four-star perfection with string quartets and swanky restaurants.
My boyfriend bought me flowers.
That it's not the money you spend or the elaborate lengths you go to.
Happy Valentine's Day.
It just has to come from the heart. Ingalls, we're with you every step of the way.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
It is ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy. And we are live in the Ingalls studio. How about Baker Mayfield getting it done at the Pro Bowl games? Precision passing champion and MVP of the game. Look at that. Earning all of those millions that he's about to earn from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Where you put that trophy?
If you're Baker,
yeah.
I mean, it goes right to the top. That's the best trophy you have. Right?
I mean, you're not wrong.
I mean, next to the Heisman. He's got the Heisman and then the Pro Bowl MVP trophy.
Okay. But I guess that's kind of my point. All right, so the Heisman is on the top of the trophy case.
Yes.
Or on the mantle or wherever you put your things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though it's the second best award you have, I still feel like that one goes over the coffee pot. Or you put that one on that weird little shelf above the poop hole. The toilet.
Yeah, thank you.
It's like, what is that thing called?
Baker Mayfield ended up getting the MVP award for the NFC that ended up winning their second Pro Bowl games in a row in the flag foot. Did you watch 2 seconds of any of that yesterday?
No, I didn't turn any of it on. The accurate the precision passing thing was on in a restaurant. I literally turned my back to not watch it. That's how I do not understand why we still do Pro Bowl anything. Nobody cares.
Nope.
Nobody cares. Then again, I say the same thing about the NBA, Major League Baseball, and virtually every sport that doesn't have a football in it.
And millions still watch those.
Very low millions. Like 2. Multiple millions. You're right. 2. 2 is technically multiple.
Told you.
My story comes from Twitter because I refuse to call it X. It's about a man named Dan McDermott. He shared a story on Twitter about his cousin Bill. His cousin Bill's a fan of the Green Bay Packers. And apparently he was very off-put by Joe Barry, their former defensive coordinator. He apparently was also very off-put by the search for his replacement, which ultimately led to Jeff Hafley, the now former head coach at Boston College. So he decided to take matters into his own hands. And he applied for the defensive coordinator job himself. And in that application, he cited his knowledge of the game and his success as a manager, fantasy football manager, and he sent that to the Green Bay Packers. Now, that's not that out of the ordinary. People send dumb things to NFL teams all the time. What makes this a little different is that he got a response from Mark Murphy that said, Bill, thanks so much for your cover letter and resume regarding our defensive coordinator position. While your fantasy football experience is impressive, I regret to inform you that we have decided to go in a different direction. But I hear the Bears have an opening, and you look to be a perfect fit for them.
Yes.
Thanks again. Sincerely, Mark Murphy. Boom!
Oh, that's going in a frame.
No doubt.
I love it.
No doubt.
I got to give kudos to Mark Murphy on that one.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
Handwritten response.
On Packer card stock and everything. It was an official. It's an official thing.
I feel like that's how they would respond to you when you put your resume in there. We appreciate it.
I have never actually applied for a job in the NFL.
Really?
No.
I'm shocked. I figured you'd put your name in the hat for something, like officially.
I've had some back channel conversations. I had some back channel conversations this week.
I'm sure you did.
And you know what I learned? I looked at every media member. All right, so I was around the creme de la creme of scouts and media guys. I looked at the media guys and I looked at the scouts. Every scout looks 10 years older than they are. Every media guy looks 10 years younger than they are. And I'm not going to lie to you, that made me go, I think I'm good. I think I'm good right where I'm at. Then the Rex Hogan story broke with the Jets, and I'm watching all this going, I feel like God's trying to tell me something.
The what?
Oh, have you not heard this?
No.
Well, Rex Hogan, who just so happens to be a friend of mine, was the assistant GM of the Jets. Well, he got fired apparently at the end of the season, and they didn't tell anybody because they didn't replace him.
Okay.
And if they do replace him, it's going to be internally. Basically, Wednesday at the Senior Bowl, every mistake the Jets have ever made was just dumped on Rex. Like, he's the reason we took Zach Wilson. I think they blamed Jimmy Hoffa on him. I think they blamed, all kinds of things on him. They had nothing to do with
Kyle Brady, all of it.
Yeah, you know why we took Johnny Lamb Jones? Rex Hogan. He was 12.
Don't care.
Don't care. He did it. He was on this earth from the day. You know what? From the day Rex Hogan was put on this earth to right now, no Jet Super Bowls. Coincidence? I think not.
Well, we knew there had to be a fall guy somewhere. And apparently Hulk Hogan was it for y'all. Rex Hogan, excuse me.
Rex Hogan.
Not Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, very different. Both trended on the internet for very different reasons.
Ben Johnson, AC Rails grad, #1 head coaching candidate for the 2025 offseason. He's not, he's going back to Detroit. He said no to the Washington Commanders, or did he? Did he say no, or did the Commanders think that he wasn't a good interview? I feel like I've heard this excuse used for some people in the past. Washington Commanders apparently now saying that Ben Johnson's not a good interview.
That's being
deal?
Floated through the back channels. And this is one time that I was on the ground floor of media when this came out. And I was actually, you had called me, and I was on this show when it came out that Ben Johnson wasn't going to take the Washington job. As soon as I hung up the phone with you, I was in the middle of probably 8 conversations in 25 seconds. Because he's from here.
Right.
And every one of us had basically the same take. Yeah, there's something about this that doesn't make sense. There is something about this story that makes no sense. Adam Schefter put out, he wasn't the lock candidate that we thought he was. Yeah, he was. That's what misinformation sounds like. And I have a funny feeling I know where it's coming from. His salary demands were too high. Okay, here's the problem with that. He stayed with the Detroit Lions. How much money did they add to his deal there?
No.
Oh, not $1. How many years did they add to his deal there? Oh, not an hour. Okay, so if that's your stance, that his salary demand was so absorbent that nobody would touch it, he has the worst agent in the history of time because he turned down lots of monies for respectable monies and no guarantees whatsoever. So let me cut through the nonsense there. Very comfortable in Detroit. Just is. He likes it in Detroit. He's very loyal to Dan Campbell. Dan gave him his first shot as a play caller. He's good. He also knows that he can win where he is because they were knocking on the door of a Super Bowl this year, and I'll be honest with you, I think they're the favorite next year. I think they're the favorite in the NFC next year.
in the NFC.
Philadelphia's close. San Francisco's close. But for me, it's those three and a pretty significant drop-off after that.
I would agree.
Then you get into what did you get in the room? And there was a phrase that I heard that it made my little mullet spidey sense go off. And it was, these are basketball guys that think way too highly of their football knowledge. Now, would you like to take a guess why that made my little spidey sense go off?
Why is that?
Because I heard it about 10 times this week. I heard that verbatim same phrase about 10 times this week. Of these guys have come in and they think because they have been successful in basketball that they're going to be successful in football. And then you look at the consortium that's in the room, and one of them's Magic Johnson. Okay, and this is if you ever want me to explain to you the difference between football and every other sport, this is the best way I can explain it. Magic Johnson is a phenomenal businessman. Phenomenal. I would say top 5% of all owners in all major sports. So if you walk into a meeting like this, and I told you this when they hired Dan Quinn, something's up, and I'm going to smoke it out before I leave the city. If you walk into the room with these coaching hires, and you come in as, I'm a businessman that so happens to own a football team, you'll have the respect. But you have to leave the football things up to the football guys. And so you come in and you think because you're one of the greatest basketball players that ever lived, you were a successful executive, you were a very unsuccessful coach, but that's a different challenge. In basketball, you've been a successful owner in Major League Baseball, and now you think you're just going to slide into football. Let me make this perfectly clear as I can. Football guys respect other football guys. This is the way it goes. And we can snuff you out in 10 minutes of, are you sure? Are you sure that you're a football guy? Because I'm not sure. And that's basically the narrative that I kept hearing, was that these guys have come into the NFL and they're about to get a rude awakening of how different this is than the NBA. In the NBA, you churn through coaches. How many coaches have already been fired this year? Doc Rivers is the All-Star Game coach because he's coaching the best team in the reigning Eastern Conference champions. They've already fired the coach that they replaced. That doesn't happen in the NFL. This is schemes. This is systems. This is culture. This is everything. And you bring that basketball nonsense in here, a smart football lifer like Ben Johnson is going to snuff you out in 5 minutes. And it made everything make sense. Because it was the poorest kept secret in the NFL that Washington wanted Ben Johnson. We all knew it. But we never heard anything on the other side. I never heard that. And that was something that, I'm not going to lie, I went into this week going, that's weird. And I'll just give you a little inside baseball. When these things are this obvious, Mike McDonald with Seattle, I'd already heard that he was reaching out to potential staff of, this is going to be my offensive coordinator. This is going to be my defensive coordinator. This guy's going to have a spot on my staff. You know how many of those I heard about coming from Ben Johnson?
No.
0. And that's weird considering we live in the city that he was born in. That's odd. That's odd that I have absolutely no tie to Mike McDonald, and I knew more about what he was going to fill a staff with than Ben Johnson. And I just thought it was odd. And Ben's a different guy. Ben's a football purist. And so I thought, you know what? He's trying to respect the process. He's trying to respect the conference championships. He's going to do all these things on the backside because it's one of the last jobs to be filled. They waited on him, and now he's going to have to build a staff, and maybe he doesn't have the staff exactly that he wants in the first year, but he knows he can build one because there's so many people around the league that believe in him. Then Monday came and went. That's weird. That's weird because I know definitively Washington was, it's Ben Johnson A, it's Bobby Slowick B. There is no C. Monday comes and goes. Nothing happens. Tuesday morning comes and goes. Washington's on the Eastern Coast. Is on the East Coast. Senior Bowl practices start at 12. If you're going to do it, you're doing it before that. Or you're doing it after that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make a lot of sense on the East Coast to do it after, because then it gets lost in a nightly media swell. Seattle did it later. They're on the West Coast. Doesn't matter. And then the news rolled around. And know what? This makes all the sense in the world. You did something. Washington did something. And then you hear all of this news, and it just sounds like there is a very leaky faucet in Washington that would be really disconcerting to me if I was a fan of that team. And then came the story from Washington of last night. And this would be the thing that would make me sit in a pool of my own fear. And we'll talk about what that is after the break.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Anjali.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just got an alert for a strange charge on my card.
No problem. We make sure you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases on your Discover card. Let's see. Did you purchase something from a t-shirt cannon store yesterday?
Absolutely not. No, I already have like 3.
$0 fraud liability guarantee. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard. Limitations apply.
GiveMeTheVin.com is paying top dollar for your car, truck, sports car, exotic. I told my buyers, let's get them bought. Right now is the time to go.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, you know? Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out the okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
Help the planet with a tip from iHeartRadio Earth. Marine litter is often the result of poorly managed trash on land. To help prevent trash from escaping from your outdoor trash bins on collection day, keep the trash bin lid closed, don't overflow it, and put it out for pickup shortly before the scheduled pickup time. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
Don't miss Golf Shop Radio this Saturday.
The Ingles 2024 Southern Conference Downtown Dribble and Kids Fest, presented by Champion Credit Union, will be held Saturday, March 9th, 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Roger McGuire Green at Pack Square Park. The Downtown Dribble will feature interactive games, inflatables, pep bands, cheerleaders, and a parade. Each participant will receive a basketball, Downtown Dribble t-shirt, and a ticket to the noon session quarterfinal basketball games. Check-in will begin at 9:30 a.m. at Roger McGuire Green. To register, visit downtowndribble.eventbrite.com.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
The best season of the year is here.
Tailgate season.
Monster Brewing presents this season's MVP.
The Beast Unleashed.
With 4 bold, familiar flavors.
With 0 caffeine and 0 sugar.
Beast Unleashed is your new pregame ritual.
With white haze, mean green, peach perfect, and scary berries, there's a flavor for every fan. The Beast Unleashed.
6% alcohol by volume. Unleashed responsibly. Must be 21 or over. Beast Unleashed. Available at your local retailer.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumber than a bag of hammers.
It is ESPN Asheville. We're back in the Sportsocracy. Jeremy, continue.
Tank in the break looked at me and went, I missed having you here. You're like a matchbox car. We just spin you up and
just let him roll.
So I told you Friday when we caught up in a park. I actually had a homeless person ask me for money live on the radio. I went back and heard it. I listened to the show again, and I was like, I didn't notice that at first because I had earbuds in my ear, so I didn't hear it. But the microphone is out. Anyway, it's beside the point. I thought there was something very strange about the Dan Quinn hire. Felt really desperate. Felt like this was the best we could do. And then my question was, what do you do from here? Do you try to build the best staff you can? Or do you try to make up for the fact that you got just booped on your little nose by the two offensive guys? And guess what you did? You had to make up for it. You had to go get big game Cliff. And I'm not telling you I think that's a terrible idea. I know why you did it. I know exactly why you did it. Because as Stacey Turville asked in our YouTube comments, the question is it Hal or not to Hal? That's the question. I'm going to tell you it's not to Hal.
It's not Hal.
And I think they're trying to force the hand of the Chicago Bears by hiring Cliff Kingsbury. I firmly believe that.
What, you want a quarterback, you better get him at one?
No.
What?
We want Caleb Williams. We know he does not love the Bears. There's been some misreports of, I didn't actually say that. Let me make this as clear as I can. He has 100% said that. Not totally bought into Chicago. They have a really bad track record with quarterbacks. I like DJ Moore, but I don't like much else. That's not even an opinion anymore. That's a fact. That's been said. The question is he going to go far enough as to say, I won't play for Chicago? And I don't know that. But I feel like if Washington is all in on Caleb Williams, which is what I have heard, is that's their 1, 2, and 4, then this is a pretty interesting hire because he was the offensive analyst with USC last year that worked directly with Caleb Williams. And I could easily see this being a path where you take an immature kid that has already said he doesn't love Chicago, and you just brought in a piece because you think it will bring you Caleb Williams. The chances of that happening, 20%. Of your agent doesn't give you good advice, your family doesn't give you good advice, and then you wind up just saying, I'm not going to play for Chicago. But it is definitely something to keep an eye on. And it wasn't just me that their ears perked up when I saw Cliff Kingsbury's name. Because something happened in Vegas. That was done. And Cliff went, that contract you were offering me an hour ago, that's just not that good. That's not good enough for me. Yeah, because Washington came in and offered more.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Take a quick break after the top of the hour. It'll be time to get into Senior Bowl reactions from Flowstradamus after his trip to Alabama.
This is your Exergen Temple Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
I don't know how you don't enjoy this for this time of year unless you like the snow and the ice and the cold. None of that in sight. How about even warmer temperatures after 55 today, 55 tomorrow, mostly sunny both days, overnight lows in the upper 20s. Wednesday will be near 60, sunny. Thursday will be near 60 and mostly sunny. And Friday will cloud over with highs in the mid-50s. Meteorologist Ray Stajic from the Weather Channel.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? You need to call QC Kinetics today. Listen, the state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideas like steroids and surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain from arthritis or injury? Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility, reclaim your independence. Walk and run and play and live without the danger and trauma of surgery and without harmful drugs. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. Phone 828-333-9517 in Asheville and in Greenville.
Crooked teeth may embarrass kids whose families can't afford braces. And trying to fix their teeth themselves can make things worse. Luckily, there's Donated Orthodontic Services, a program from the American Association of Orthodontists. For children and teens who qualify and are matched with a volunteer orthodontist, treatment can be life-changing and help them smile with confidence. Learn more at aaoinfo.org.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, GRAND. That's GRAND. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. The Sportsocracy.
That fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
The Sportsocracy.
Shake it back!
Beer City's best sports talk.
It is gross.
Just earlier.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery. Live from the Ingalls studio.
It is the Sportsocracy, and we are live on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. The Sportsocracy is heard everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app, and we are seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel. That way you can join us in the chat, get your thoughts in on all the things we're talking about. It is, of course, Super Bowl week. We got the coaching carousel continuing to just rotate round and round, although all the seats are about filled up. I think we're only down to maybe 5 jobs that are still available in the coordinator ranks. So all the chairs filling up here pretty quick. But that's not what you came here for the 1 o'clock hour. At least it's not. You should only come here for one thing, because that's all you're going to get. For the next little bit, it's the full-on deep dive wrap-up to Jeremy's trip to Mobile, Alabama. The best of the best on the field at the Senior Bowl. Having to, found myself again this week having to explain to others, lesser casual football fans, exactly what the Senior Bowl entails. It's all the best seniors. Some upper class, weren't there some like juniors that are invited?
Not many. Well, there were several invited, but not many took them up on it.
Yeah.
One of them that did is on the list of guys that we're about to talk about, of Jeremy, the old Mullet's all Senior Bowl team.
So it's NFL draft eligible players, and it's supposed to be the best of the best. The guys that, the ones that don't need the help, I guess didn't need the show.
Well,
Some of them
you also
up.
have 2 other bowl games. And people always forget that because the other 2 aren't as popular. So you got the Shrine Bowl, you got the Hula Bowl. And a lot of those secondary guys end up there.
Yes. The big dogs don't play in these games. Never do. This year we had some names that participated. Michael Penix Jr. He came in for the practices and then didn't play in the game. We had a lot of that go on.
Penix played for the first 2, and then he was just in the jersey, and he was on the sideline. We're going to talk more about individual positions starting later in the week. We'll get into my position rankings. I'm not done. I have gotten to a point where I've done this for so long that I don't overvalue the combine. A guy can go from a fringe, like undrafted free agent grade to like the 6th round. That's the best you're really going to see. I don't lose my mind because some guy ran a 4.3 40. I have all of my draftable grades. Now it's just a question of ranking them. I'm already done with the offense. I should have the defense done either tonight or tomorrow. And you know what I learned?
What's that?
How many draftable receivers do you think I have? Hold on, let me preface this, and so people listening can really formulate an educated guess in their own minds. There are 255 picks in the NFL draft. I think there's 256 this year with comp picks. I have never had as many draftable players as there are picks. I'm usually somewhere in the realm of about 2. On a bad year, it's one in the high 190s. In a good year, it's in the mid 220s. How many of those draftable grades do you think are receivers this year?
I will say 57.
You're too high.
45.
Almost right on it. It's 43.
Close.
43 draftable receivers. That's almost 20% of all the draftable grades I have for the year. That's how good this receiver class is. And so this is a great year to need a handful of things. If you need wide receivers, great year to be you. Mm-hmm. If you need offensive line help, great year to be you. If you need a quarterback and you're not picking in the top 3, it sucks to be you because you ain't going to find one.
You're screwed.
It was one of the hardest picks for the All-Senior Bowl team for me was quarterback.
Okay.
You had a handful of guys. Look, Joe Milton, awful. Spencer Rattler, he won MVP of the game. That should tell you. This is how many people opted out. Braden Fisk was on the American team. The day of the game, they traded him to the national team because they didn't have enough defensive linemen. It means nothing. Spencer Rattler was terrible.
But he was 4 for 4. He was 4 for 4 for 65 yards. Woo!
So to me, it was the most obvious thing was that you have 2 NFL quarterbacks on this field. It's Bo Nix, it's Michael Penix Jr. The question is, which one did I feel like did themselves more of a service this week? And that's where I got to. The quarterback of the All-Senior Bowl team, it's Bo Nix.
Bo Nix from Oregon. I read a lot about the takes on him down there. A lot of scouts said they were very impressed with his football knowledge. The fact that he is capable of, and has shown in his football career, college career anyway, to be capable of picking up a new offensive system because he's had 7 of them.
Well, he's a very old school guy. He actually lines his feet up in a very old school way. I did not know that. I noticed it with a pair of binoculars on Tuesday or Wednesday. He's got he doesn't have that modern foot set. And I'll elaborate on that more as we go down the line. He is insanely accurate. But my comp on him is Baker Mayfield. He can do some special things. He doesn't do them very often. He usually does the mundane pretty well, and he's super accurate. But, man, there are times that things just break his way, and it's almost like he panics, and he makes the mundane look really, really difficult. But he was still better than Penix to me. Penix has a lively arm. I got news for you. Joe Milton's got a bigger arm than anybody that was in Mobile. Not close. And I don't even have a draftable grade on him. Just throwing this out there. We do Mullet's top 13 at every position. My 13th quarterback didn't play quarterback this year. That's how bad the quarterback class is. 13 didn't play quarterback in 2023.
But is trying to go into the NFL as a quarterback?
He started as a quarterback, and then he played another position badly. And I liked his tape so much 2 years ago that he slid in as my 13th because I went, I'm not doing it with anybody else. I'm not. I refuse.
That's
Carter,
an interesting one.
Carter Bradley out of South Alabama. That's actually Gus Bradley's son. He was so good at the Hula Bowl that they invited him to the Senior Bowl because it's on the campus of South Alabama. He was fine. He was not good in the game. I think he will either be a really late round pick or he will be a priority undrafted free agent. I saw enough in him. He looked better than Rattler and Milton the vast majority of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And then Michael Pratt of Tulane, he was solid, if not spectacular. I would say he's 7. You get past the McCarthys, the Penix, the Nicks, the Daniels, Williams, Mays. He's the next one, and I'm almost to a point of he's in a tier by himself. Because he's that mid-round guy that I think could be a legit backup and maybe spot start in this league. The rest of them, you're throwing a dart at the board. Just, hey, Joe Milton's got a cannon. Yeah, but he couldn't hit the broadside of the Atlantic Ocean.
All right, next up on your All-Senior Bowl team.
I'll let you pick a position. You tell me you tell me what you want to hear.
I feel like we should just kind of go in order here. And,
okay.
Let's go with the running backs. Your first running back is a guy from Troy, Kamani Vidal.
I swear to you, I said this guy's name more than anybody in Mobile.
He was the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year this past year.
He's a bowling ball, and he just does everything right. I couldn't take my eyes off of him. And look, it's hard for a running back to show out in a situation like this because you don't get to break tackles. They don't get to tackle you, so you don't really get to show what you can do. And he still just popped. He is a little short. I think he's probably a rotational back in the NFL, but I think he can be a starter. He was really good catching passes, too. It just seemed like every time he was in, he did something that made me go, that kid can play. That kid can play. I was so impressed with him.
Where do you have him falling right now?
He's in my top 5 running backs in the class.
So like second round, top second round, mid second round?
No, I don't think a running back goes in the first 2 rounds. I have Trey Benson and Jonathan Brooks as like 1A and 1B. And then I have a handful of other running backs that are right there kind of together. And several of them were in Mobile. For me, the all-Senior Bowl team was who helped themselves the most. And Vidal was a guy that I had heard about from others. I had evaluated the tape, and it was good, but I kind of undervalued how good because the Sun Belt's been a nice little hotbed for running backs, and I think he's the next in the line. Absolutely love him. Love him.
All right, tell me about Dylan Loeb.
So it's Dylan Lobby.
Lobby?
And I got that directly from his dad, who I'm pretty sure broke 3 bones in my hand when he shook it.
Okay, Laube is Lobby. Dylan Lobby from New Hampshire.
Yeah, I saw his parents at the game. So they were standing next to me and Mullet Sr. And they started cheering for him when he came off. They had I think the entire family was there to see him, and they're from New Hampshire. He kind of reminds me of a bigger version of Austin Eckler because I don't know that you do – I don't know that he does anything perfect. I don't know that he has the situational role that he comes in and he's the pass catcher or he's the pass blocker. Speaking of that, Kamani Vidal, best pass blocking running back I've ever seen. Straight up.
Ever.
At 5'8", he is the best pass blocker I think I've ever seen. Sorry. Dylan Lobby just did everything well. And I watched how hard he worked. He was one of my biggest winners of the week. And I'm efforting getting him on this show for later in the week. So he was, I was so impressed by him. I was so impressed by the family. And I want to do a bigger thing with him and a couple other guys that I saw and befriended either a family member or their marketing guy. He's really easy to root for. And he never took a playoff. Every rep I saw, I never saw him mail in a rep.
All right, let's switch over to the defensive side. Your layout here is a little interesting.
Okay.
You've because you got one linebacker, so you're just playing one linebacker on this.
Yeah,
team.
I want to have. We're going real big. Okay, going real big with that defensive line because there were so many defensive linemen that were good. We'll hit the defensive linemen in the next segment.
Yes.
There's only one linebacker.
You hit Peyton Wilson from Michigan.
Or no, it's Peyton Wilson from NC State. I put the wrong name on the graphic.
I was going to say, is there another Peyton Wilson
I'm glad you caught that. Yeah, because it's not on the screen, so nobody can see that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Peyton Wilson at NC State. Yeah. I think he will be the second linebacker to go. He could be the first. I did not realize he was as tall as he is. He's as tall as I am. I think he can just do everything. I almost put Cedric Gray on this team. The only problem was I couldn't figure out who to knock off because I have 5 corners that I want to talk about, and I have 6 defensive linemen I want to talk about. And I had to get Torrey Taylor, the punter from Iowa, in there.
Why?
I've never seen a bigger-legged punter in my life.
Really?
He hit a punt 70 yards in the air.
Better than Presley Harvin from a few years ago that you had a conniption over?
Yes.
Punt God?
Ariza would be the only one that I've ever seen had a better leg. The problem with Torrey Taylor is that the good is unbelievable. There's also some bad, and he had some shanks that's where Matt Ariza fell in. Is he never had those. Every time his foot hit a ball, it just went out of the stadium. But Torrey Taylor was. I don't get impressed by punters or kickers very often. I was super impressed by him.
Interesting.
He's the only draftable punter I have. Will Reichert's the only draftable kicker.
I find that so interesting because Jeremy is the one that has preached to me since we became business partners here on this little venture. kickers aren't people.
No, don't draft them. I mean, look, I have a draftable grade on them. That means call them in the 7th round and go, tell teams not to draft you. I want you. I likes you, and I want you. But I need to not use a draft pick on you because drafting kickers is a terrible idea.
We'll continue with the 2024 All-Senior Bowl team by at ESPN Draft Nerd, Flowstradamus Jeremy Greene, who was live in Mobile, Alabama last week, getting all the up-close and personal experiences that, well, we didn't know we needed, I guess.
I will never miss the Senior Bowl again. Ever.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
Fire, flood, wind damage, arguably a homeowner's worst nightmare. For nearly 4 decades, First Restoration Services has been helping people recover from disasters with trust, integrity, speed, and quality. If you have a disaster, call them today, 1-800-537-6151, or online at frs247.com.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, you know? Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin, ultra soft on the potty. Listen, small, so roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The crib is always stocked. It's our party vibe.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
My daughter is normally a little goofball. But after a bad night's sleep, she's too tired to be anything. That's why I trust Pure Z's Kids. Pure Z's Kids is mindfully formulated just for kids. Their non-habit forming, drug-free products help my daughter fall asleep naturally, giving her the rest to be her best.
I'm a dinosaur.
Her best dinosaur.
Pure Z's Kids, for ages 4 and up when needed. Explore our products at zquill.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
We're back counting down to kickoff. Let's look at today's 3 keys to premium pre-gaming with Beast Unleashed, presented by Monster Brewing. Number 1, beat the heat.
Unleash the beast with bold, familiar flavors, 0 caffeine, and 0 sugar.
Number 2, running the option.
There's 4 to choose from: White Haze, Peach Perfect, Scary Berries, and my personal favorite, Mean Green.
And number 3, at 6% ABV, Max Protect.
Always drink responsibly, and you must be 21 or over.
Beast Unleashed, available at your local retailer. If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family fun there, eh, Cot?
This is the Sportsocracy, and we are live in the Ingles studio. Senior Bowl wrap-up here from Flowstradamus, who was boots on the ground last week in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. And he has formulated here for us his all-Senior Bowl team, and he's got 18 defensive linemen on the team.
It's not 18. Okay? You're doing that hyperbole thing again. There's only 6.
6 of them. 6 defensive linemen. He's got that heavy rotation going. It is the New York Jets fan.
No doubt.
He's got to have the Aubrey Huff to come in every now.
Audrey Huff played baseball. Bryce Huff would be who you're talking about.
Excuse me, Bryce Huff, not Aubrey Huff. My bad. Didn't you have a guy named Aubrey? Wasn't there a guy?
I am sure we have an Ashton Davis.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Anyhow, defensive linemen, let's start with the obvious. I feel like Leatu Latu is the obvious because he is a no doubt top 10er for a lot of guys, a lot of experts.
So Leatu Latu, I was really high on him anyway. It was all about the medical, and that's what he came to Mobile to do, was really put a damper on that because he did medically retire. His profile now, I had to take 3 pictures. There's a German Shepherd, there's a Pit Bull, and there's a Coyote because he is a dog. Good Lord, he ate up everybody he went up against. Him and Talise Fuaga, that was the best one-on-one of the weekend, and they just went after each other over and over and over again. And then his agent called and went, "Your stomach is bubbling. No knees, no nothing medical. You're fine. Just you have to go potty real bad because you are not touching another pad, another helmet, or another person."
Right.
He'll go in the top 10. I think his drop dead's 9 to the Chicago Bears. He's the best pass rusher in this draft, and you know how much I like Jared Verse. I think he's that good.
All right, Leatu Latu is the first, and then your guy, Braden Fiske.
He's so good. I want him to get a little stronger because he did kind of get washed out against some of the bigger guys. But to me, I think Braden Fiske is I think he's a second-day pick that comes in as a nice rotational piece. I like him in the 4-man front, specifically if you could find a way to put him next to Tavondre Sweat, who we'll talk about in just a second. That'd be awesome. If you get him next to a big space eater, he is the stereotypical lunch pail. I'm just going to outwork you, and my God, he is so fast. I love him. And it's not just because he's a Florida State guy. It's because he's a dog. He's a dog. Big old burr.
Speaking of dogs, and big old dogs at that, 362 pounds. All 362 pounds of Tavondre Sweat.
He was immovable in Mobile. Bullet Sr., that's his new favorite player in the NFL. He's so sad the Jets can't have him. There's only one thing about him that I will say. He did not weigh in Mobile. They measured his arm length, they measured his height, they did all the things. And then you get to weight, and it's blank because he refused to get on the scale. And I'm going to tell you, I was standing right next to this kid. You said he's listed at 362?
362.
Okay, he was listed at 366 in the preseason. If he's anything less than 385 pounds, I'm a ballerina.
Wow.
And let's face it, I'm not. And it was obvious. After a couple reps, he would get winded. I did hear our guy Trevor Sikkema at PFF. He had kind of an interesting theory that maybe he came in heavy and was told not to weigh. And they're like, we'll get you in shape by the combine. We'll weigh you in at 365. You'll look more athletic, and they won't know how big you actually got. Because it was like pushing a brick wall. He just ate guys' lunchbox. And then I get to my take on him. You know, I've been high on him for 2 years. I've talked about him all year. I was high on him last year. I thought he was going to come out last year. I don't know that I care. Because to me, he's Vita Vea with a pass rush ability. Okay, he only plays first 2 downs. So what?
Yeah, as long as I'm creating that pressure. Yeah.
Because I have a higher grade on him than I had on Vita Vea, and I loved Vita Vea. Now, am I saying he's as elite of a run stopper? No, but he's a way better pass rusher at this point. And you can attest, Vita has gotten better at that as time has gone on.
He has.
That's what I think happens with Tavondre Sweat.
Yeah, that was the one thing that Vita came into the league elite. I mean elite at stopping the run. and people think that that's all he can do. Over the last couple of years, he's got much better at shedding blockers and getting that pressure up the middle, but he's still not elite as a pass rusher from the middle, from the interior of the defense.
Tavondre is not elite against the run. He's very, very, very good, and he's a pretty good pass rusher. Vita Vea was irrelevant as a pass rusher.
Yes.
And has kind of molded himself into, I'll say he's good at this point. I don't think I can really put any qualifiers on that. He's a good pass rusher. And I think Sweat is starting at a place where maybe you're not elite at anything, but you're good at everything.
Well, hopefully you can get that. Hopefully the weight doesn't become an issue to where it will become
weight is his biggest qualifier.
Red flag.
It's already a red flag.
It already is.
There are people that thought he showed up in Mobile at 400 pounds. Ooh. And now, just understand, they played on January 1st. So that means he had gained that much weight between January 1st and January 29th. That's tough because you should be at your thinnest at the end of the year. Yes, you eat and you eat, but so much cardio, you're going to burn weight. It's not as bad as it is with basketball players, but it's going to happen. And so weight is his biggest knock. But I'm just not sure that I care. Joshua Penix asked, any chance he makes it to 27? I would say so. My ideal first two rounds for any team would be the Chargers take Brock Bowers at 5 and then take Devondre Sweat in the second round. And then I just look at them and go, I don't care if you take the $1 million man Ted DiBiase and doink the clown in the third and fourth round. Hey.
It's going to be just fine. Tell us about Michael Hall Jr.
So he was one of the only juniors that actually took the NFL up on the I'm an underclassman, I got invited, I'm going to come to the Senior Bowl. And he was electric. Here's the thing that bothers me about him is that he shined way more in this scenario than he did on tape. I had him in that second or third round range. Now people are talking about it in the first round. I don't see that. I still have the evaluation the same. I just think he is at a point. I think he's at a point where he has a much better high side than I thought because he went up against the best competition in the country and just jumped off the page. I don't think he's a ready-made product. He's still young and doesn't have the tremendous number of reps. I don't have that number pulled up in front of me, but I can pull it up in the break. I think he's a work in progress. I would love to see him with the Arizona Cardinals because I think he fits so nicely in that system.
Well, and apparently he was the only one that was really holding his own against Jackson Powers Johnson.
Yeah.
So when you have a guy that comes out and dominates everybody else, and then you got this one Ohio State kid that, he was.
Well, and that's a little biased, too, because he's really thin for a defensive tackle. So he was going with speed. We always talk about speed to power or power to speed. He didn't do that. He just went speed at Jackson Powers Johnson, who is 334 pounds. So be careful letting that be the caveat. But you didn't say anything wrong. I've just heard a lot of people say that, and I went, okay, that's misleading the way you're saying it. Because you're making it sound like he had the best reps against Jackson Powers Johnson, and that's not true. He just got the better of him until he didn't. And there was a play where he didn't because he tried to do that speed thing, and Powers Johnson went Incredible Hulk. Puny D lineman.
But still, it remains that as a defensive tackle, if you could use some speed to get around the best center in this class, then you're going to turn some heads and you'll become a bigger target.
I think he has some really, really high upside. You just got to be patient. But he helped himself a lot this week.
Number 5 on the defensive lineman list here of the All-Senior Bowl.
Darius Robinson out of Missouri. I genuinely think he could end up going in the first round. He was special. You don't realize how good Missouri actually was until you start breaking down individual players. And you realize how many good things Eli Drinkwitz is doing. Darius Robinson might have been the best player on the field at times. Nobody really stopped him. And he was eating some of these guys for lunch. And I just think he's going to be really multiple. I could see him he's bigger, but I could see him being like a Hassan Reddick that you can just put You can do anything I ask you to do. I don't remember what he weighed in at. I think it was 285, but I'm not positive of that. Some people list him as a defensive tackle, some as a 5 tech, some listed him as a defensive end. I just think he's really multiple, and that gives you such a scheme versatility that he's not falling past 45. Mm-hmm. And that's if he runs slow.
Well, his official listing during the season was 6'5", 296.
He's not that big.
Slimmed down.
He slimmed down from that for sure.
Okay.
For sure. And I think what he was trying to do is show I can play on the edge, and he did play on the edge quite a bit. And he looked pretty good at it. 3-4 defensive end for him, I think, might be his best spot. It's just he's in that spot of he could bulk back up to what I saw on tape and play with his hand in the dirt. He could lose 10 pounds and play standing up. I don't know. And he's freakishly athletic. It was almost comical to watch. Like, no man that size should be that athletic.
Sixth and final defensive lineman on the All-Senior Bowl team from Troy, Javon Solomon.
If he was 3 inches taller, we'd be talking about him the second day. But he's 6 flat. He got under pad level really easily. And I'm going to be honest with you. I saw a couple reps of him that made me go back and watch the tape on him. And, obviously, Mullet Sr. and I went to the Senior Bowl together, so we were staying in a hotel room together. He's listed at 6'2". He's not 6'2". He's like 6 foot and maybe a half. But he's so fast. He's so fast. And I don't care. Dwight Freeney was 5'11". There's more than one way to skin this cat. And I can just tell you, Javon Solomon can play in this league. I'll stake my reputation on it. That kid can play in this league for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Am I telling you he's ever going to be a Hall of Famer? Maybe not. But he's going to be a valuable piece that somebody's going to take, I would say, early in day 3. And immediately the thing they're going to say is he's too short, he's too thin. I don't care. I watched him go up against the best offensive lineman in the country, and he had some of the best reps I saw all week. And I haven't heard anybody talk about him. And I think it's because they're afraid. I think they're afraid that he was so thin that he may just get washed out. I love him as a stand-up 3-4 outside linebacker. Love him. Developmental. He kind of reminds me of the body frames are different, but he kind of reminds me of Amari Barno that plays for the Panthers.
Yep.
Because I think he's just so athletic that he's going to make up for – Barno was really tall, and he made up for that because he's so unbelievably, freakishly fast. Javon Solomon is a little shorter, but he's so agile. He almost looks like a running back, and that's how I noticed him at first because I got so locked in on Vidal, and I kept seeing that Troy helmet. I kept thinking Javon Solomon was Kendall Vidal. Now, he's not that short. But I started watching the helmet, and I went, damn, this kid's pretty good, too. Next thing I knew, I was laying in the hotel watching his tape in bed while Mullet Sr. snored. Like, man, this kid's good.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville wrapping up the Senior Bowl trip of Flowstradamus Jeremy Greene when we come back with the continuation of the 2024 All-Senior Bowl team. Still got to get into the corners, the wide receivers, and the offensive linemen in the second half of the hour. Stick with us. Plus, when we come back, it'll be time to get weird.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
I don't know how you don't enjoy this for this time of year unless you like the snow and the ice and the cold. None of that in sight. How about even warmer temperatures after 55 today, 55 tomorrow, mostly sunny both days, overnight lows in the upper 20s. Wednesday will be near 60, sunny. Thursday will be near 60 and mostly sunny. And Friday will cloud over with highs in the mid-50s. Meteorologist Ray Stajic from the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors. eBay Motors is here for the ride with the parts you need for the prices you want. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see. Depression won't show up on an eye chart, and you won't find PTSD by looking at a thermometer. Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment. Anxiety won't just go away under a bandage. If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
Nothing says I love you like a clean home. This Valentine's Day, call the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Right now, mention ESPN Asheville and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $109, plus a free hallway. Book online at ZeroResAsheville.com.
Get ready for the big game with the free iHeartRadio app, the official partner of the NFL Podcast Network, featuring the biggest names in the game like Ross Tucker and his daily NFL podcast.
I am so looking forward to that game.
NFL Total Access.
That's another mini storyline to watch.
NFL Now.
This could be the dangerous team.
And many more. The free iHeartRadio app and the NFL, getting you the insight and behind-the-scenes stories you need for the big game. Just open the free iHeartRadio app and search NFL and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
The Ingles 2024 Southern Conference Downtown Dribble and Kids Fest, presented by Champion Credit Union, will be held Saturday, March 9th, 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Roger McGuire Green at Pack Square Park. The Downtown Dribble will feature interactive games, inflatables, pep bands, cheerleaders, and a parade. Each participant will receive a basketball, Downtown Dribble t-shirt, and a ticket to the noon session quarterfinal basketball games. Check-in will begin at 9:30 a.m. at Roger McGuire Green. To register, visit downtowndribble.eventbrite.com.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need, and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
It is ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy. Jeremy's been gone for a while, so I feel like it's a good time to break out another one of these stories. A Denver man believes that he has been the victim of a prank. Says he went Thursday afternoon. He had to go to the bathroom when he was walking through Halleck Park, and there was a porta potty nearby. He goes into the porta potty to do said business, and then the walls started to move. Somebody came and did that old thing where you lock the door and push it over. This guy now suing the city of Denver because, I guess, lack of security. He was pushed over in the porta potty and says that he hurt his back. This is where Jeremy would normally cue in the Joe Dirt soundbite.
Oh, I got the poo on me.
Just how many nanoseconds would it take for you to bust out of that porta potty and hurt somebody?
Well, I'm not as good as I once was, but I will tell you, there ain't a porta potty on this planet that would hold me inside of it. That little plastic handle would get broke, and then something else would.
No doubt. This guy, I feel bad for this guy because I don't want to say he's not elderly, but he is older. You could tell he's grayed much more than us, probably in his early 60s, and probably is like a part-time lawyer or something. He's got that look to him like he's
he's a lawyer?
I don't know.
Oh, he deserves it.
I don't know. I'm just saying he looks like he's got a button-up job. I can only imagine how bad this would be.
My story. The government's not even trying to hide it anymore. I've been telling you for years. # birds aren't real.
Mm-hmm.
Last year I told you a story that they were putting taxidermied birds on drones so that they would not dishevel the wildlife.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, they've made bird drones. It's called the Evolution Eagle. It's a big drone, camera on it. It looks, and it flies like a bird. You're not even trying to hide it anymore.
It doesn't. But it doesn't fly like a bird.
Does it have wings?
I believe I saw this story the other day, and it looks like a bird. It looks like a bird, gliding, but the wings don't move. And I feel like that would be one of the signs for, because they showed it, and you could sneak up on a target this way. Yeah, but I feel like they might notice that the bird's wings aren't moving. So it's not completely like a bird.
Well, this is stage 2 of an ultimate 5-stage process where they unveil to all of you that the birds have actually been drones the entire time.
Okay.
First, we put dead birds on active drones. Now we have drones that look like birds. Then we're going to have simulated feathers with drones that the wings don't actually move, but they kind of glide. Then we're going to have flapping wings. Then we're going to have, oh, yeah, by the way, I forgot to tell you, the bird's been listening to you the whole time. You ever seen a baby pigeon?
Theory.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't think so. You find a picture online. Never seen one of those things. It's terrifying.
2024 All-Senior Bowl team by Flowstradamus Jeremy Greene. We've given you the quarterback, the running backs, defensive line, the linebacker, and, yes, even the punter that he chose for this team.
Torrey Taylor, he a dog.
Let's talk about the sandwich eaters. Your 5 offensive linemen.
This was so hard to pick because there were so many that were so good. I'll start with the obvious one, Jackson Powers Johnson, the center out of Oregon. He will go in the first round. He may go in the top 20. The PFF mock draft that came out yesterday had him 16 to Seattle. And I don't think that's that untoward. I really don't. He was that good. He may have had the best Senior Bowl week I've ever seen from an interior lineman, and he only played 2 days.
How big of a rise in his stock was that?
He was the number 1 center anyway. It was him and Zach Frazier, and now he has so clearly passed everybody else. I would say it's a round and a half jump.
Wow.
But it just got people to look into him, and they figured out just how good he actually is.
All right, let's work our way out. Let's go to the guards. Dominic Puny.
He played center. He played guard. I've been told he can play tackle. He was really, really good. Now, he is a guy that, to me, jumped quite a bit. Because I had him somewhere in roughly the 5th round, and I've started seeing him in the middle of the 2nd. That's a little rich for my blood, but I do think he's a day 2 pick. He's just a versatile. It's kind of the same thing we said with Zach Tom. Yeah, you remember when he came out of Wake Forest? And I just said, hey, what position is he going to play? I don't know, but he's going to play one of them. And that's kind of where I'm at with Puny, is that he's got NFL talent, and it was very obvious.
UConn, Christian Haynes, the other guard.
If it wasn't for Powers Johnson, we would be talking about Christian Haynes a lot, because he might have had the 2nd best week I've ever seen from an interior lineman. You just couldn't do anything with him. He's really big. He's got a really nasty streak. I think he's a day 1 starting guard. I think he goes mid round 2. Might be higher than that, but I kind of doubt it. Guards and centers tend to get pushed down, and we had so many that showed they were draftable that I almost feel like, yes, Haynes had a jump, but it was more he jumped Cooper Beebe. It was more he jumped a handful of other guys and got into that, okay, he's going to be the number 1 guard. The number 1 natural, no doubt, guard. So I would say he goes somewhere around 50.
All right, and then the tackles, Christian Jones from Texas.
He was outstanding. Just outstanding. I thought he was going to end up being a guard. He's not a guard. He's a tackle. I think he'll start as a right tackle, has the chance to be a left tackle in this league, and I would never have said that a week ago.
He's a tackle, he's a tackle, he's a tackle. I think that's the first time I've ever heard that from you about a prospect.
That's a new one.
Yeah. And then the other tackle, Tyler Guyton.
He was out of this world. I mean, you couldn't do anything with him. He was really mobile. He's going to be a starting left tackle in this league. I don't really think there's any doubt about it. And if he wasn't the biggest winner of the weekend, he was in the top 3.
Okay. All right. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue with the 2024 All Senior Bowl team here at ESPN Draft Nerd, Jeremy Greene.
Win $1,000 in inflation compensation.
I just won $1,000.
And kick your new year into high gear.
What? No way. I try every day. That's great.
Happening now.
Brought to you by PSG. PSG Traffic Services exists to save lives by providing safe work zones and to provide all your traffic needs. PSG is hiring team members. Excellent pay and benefits. Call 910-821-1720 or visit psgtrafficservices.com.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a new Samsung Galaxy A15 for just $99. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah! Good talk.
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. In-store activation on single Silver Unlimited plan or higher required. Family plan discount with 4 lines all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
Patients everywhere are experiencing joint pain relief thanks to QC Kinetics regenerative treatments. So how does this non-surgical approach work? QC Kinetics medical director Dr. Aaron Wolkoff explains.
Is like when you get a paper cut and the cells that come onto that scene first stop the bleeding, and then it recruits more cells to form new skin and new soft tissue. And then you look down a week later, 2 weeks later, and it's like nothing happened and that paper cut never existed.
In this same way, QC Kinetics uses your natural biologics to help repair and restore aching knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
We take those same similar cells in different areas that are arthritic, are painful, and we cause this kind of internal self-healing that can resolve patients' pain.
Relief without surgery. See if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
All right, people, it's Valentine's Day. Everything has to be perfect.
At Ingalls, we know that not every Valentine's Day is 4-star perfection with string quartets and swanky restaurants.
My boyfriend bought me flowers.
That it's not the money you spend or the elaborate lengths you go to.
Happy Valentine's Day.
It just has to come from the heart. Ingalls, we're with you every step of the way.
The best season of the year is here.
Tailgate season.
Monster Brewing presents this season's MVP.
The Beast Unleashed.
With 4 bold, familiar flavors.
With 0 caffeine and 0 sugar.
Beast Unleashed is your new pregame ritual.
With white haze, mean green, peach perfect, and scary berries, there's a flavor for every fan. The Beast Unleashed.
6% alcohol by volume. Unleashed responsibly. Must be 21 or over. Beast Unleashed available at your local retailer.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
We're back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. The Sportsocracy, heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Hey, I've been gone a week, all right? It's not every button is, I don't remember sometimes. Oh, yeah, you got to hit a button there, stupid.
I was like, what is happening right now? To the YouTube stream. Follow us on all the social medias at the Sportsocracy and go to thesportsocracy.com. Click that live video link, subscribe to the channel. That way you can join us in the chat. The Senior Bowl trip has come to an end for Flowstradamus. We know you're all sad about it, but we know that
very sad.
You're never not going to go again.
No, I will go to everyone from here on out. That will be a consistent.
Good time was had by all. All Senior Bowl team from what he saw this past weekend. He said it's the deepest wide receiver class ever.
It is.
Your standouts, first off from the University of Georgia.
Marcus Roseman, Jack Saint.
Mm-hmm.
I did not understand how he made it to this game.
When the roster came out, he looked at me and said, "What is it about him that puts him in this game?" And I was like, "Well, he's a talented. He's got all the talent in the world. He didn't get the headlines because he never had huge numbers."
No, he was practically unguardable. He had a touchdown in the game. He had several big catches over the course of the week. That was another of Mullet Senior's favorites that I got to hear about a lot. He likes bigger receivers. See, I'm a very slotty guy, so I like the Malachi Corrales, who did not make this list, and it makes me really sad that I couldn't get him on it. But Roseman Jack Saint was phenomenal. He to me, he's still a high day 3 pick, but that's just how good receiver is.
Ricky Pearsall from Florida.
That pains me, but it's true. He's just always open. I don't think he is. I don't think he's going to run blindingly fast. He's not a gigantic guy. He's just always open. I think he's going to play. I think he can play on the outside probably better if he plays out of the slot, but he had a really good week, really good hands, never lets things get into the body, and had some good reps against some really high-quality competition.
Roman Wilson from Michigan.
He was too good in the first 2 days. He shut it down after 2. And I'm not sure that I love him as a pro prospect. He had a great week. And what he did for me was he solidified. I can't tell you that he's ever going to be a top 2 receiver on a really good team. I can tell you he can be a weapon on a really good team. And nobody could guard him. One-on-ones, he ate everybody's lunchbox. He was the only one that caught a pass on Kenyon Mitchell the whole week. Talk about him in a minute.
Mm-hmm. And then your final wide receiver, Ryan Flournoy from Southeast Missouri State.
He was another one from the Hula Bowl that got brought in late. He was a late addition. Didn't even know he was going to be playing in the game until, I think, Sunday. And I kept finding myself just staring at him going, man, he is a fluid mover. He's got good size. He's got good hands. He didn't necessarily have that benchmark spot of the week, the rep where we all go, my God, that was phenomenal. But I think he's got it in him. I'll be interested to see if they invite him to the Combine. If he goes to the Combine, don't be shocked if he has a really, really solid week there, and then we start talking about him in that 4 or 5 round range.
And finally, the last position group here, corners. No safeties?
It's not that I didn't like any of them. I just liked so many of these corners so much.
All right, let's start with the names you don't know, or you may not know. Nehemiah Pritchett from Auburn.
He was fabulous. As a matter of fact, I'll be honest with you, all the Auburn guys were good. All the Auburn guys were good. There were 3 of them in the secondary, and it was the biggest pain in the keister because I could not keep them apart because on the roster I had, none of their 3 numbers were right. So it took me forever to figure out which one was which, and then I had to cross it out, and then I kept calling them the wrong name. They were just all really good, but Nehemiah Pritchett was the best of the 3.
Jarvis Brownlee Jr. from Louisville.
He had an interception in the game. He had a ton of high-level reps over the course of the week. I'm not sure he doesn't get into that mid day 2 range.
Okay.
There are so many corners, and 2 of them I think solidified themselves as first rounders. He did not do that, but he's in that next tier.
Chow Smith Wade from Washington State.
I don't know that I heard any player's name more than his. I didn't necessarily always see it. He was just always there. He was always around the ball, and then made the big play. But then you watch that return, and you just go, you made 6 dudes miss on a return where you landed on the ground. And then I went back through my notes and I realized how many times I had written his number down. And so I want to go back and watch some of the film that I got where I was really locked in on him for individual reps. I don't know what he is. I can't put my thumb on him, but I know he's a player in this league.
Cam Hart from Notre Dame. That's a name we all should know.
He's first-round pick. I think I was earlier to the party on him than everybody else was. Mm-hmm. He's first-round pick. He was, if it wasn't for the next name we're going to say, he would have gotten a ton of pub. I think I had him going to Baltimore in the last mock draft I did at 32. Mm-hmm. I don't really see a reason to change that much. I think he's going to be in that range. Now, there were so many that the corners might get pushed down. And that's the negative of the Senior Bowl is that so many of these guys came in here. It's the same premise with receiver. All right, so we've talked about the Tennessee Titans. I have to take an offensive lineman at 7. I know that I can get a wide receiver in the second round. I don't know that I can get a no doubt starting offensive tackle. So the wide receivers get pushed down. You get a guy like Keon Coleman that I at this point can't get into the first round. Just because there's so many other guys. There's not going to be 9 receivers going the first round. And so that's kind of where I get with Cam Hart and a few others. And in the next segment, we're going to do the daily draft. It'll be stock up, stock down of the weekend across all of it. All of the Senior Bowl week, all of the things that happened. Who did it hurt? Who did it help? And my no doubt number 1 is a name that you should all be really familiar with, and I'm going to plant a flag.
Okay.
There were so many corners this week that were starter level. I moved more corner grades this week up than any other position, and it wasn't really all that close. We talked about how good offensive line was. Corner was every bit as good.
Okay, and that group all led by the guy who got all the headlines, or most of them anyway, is Kenyon Mitchell.
There is a better than 0 chance that he's the first defensive player taken, and it could be in the top 10.
Really?
There's no doubt to me he's the number 1 quarter. Mm-hmm. He passed Nate Wiggins. He passed anybody else he was behind, and I was pretty high on him in the first place. He lost a rep the entire week, and he fell down. And it still required Roman Wilson to catch it behind his head. Because the quarterbacks were so scared to throw anywhere near him that, it was almost comical. There was another big report, or not a report, it was the thing I heard over the course of the week. There are a lot of guys in the NFL that are really impressed he stayed at Toledo. That he didn't chase NIL, because he could have. Mm-hmm. We knew how good he was a year ago. But he stayed at Toledo, wanted to finish it out, dominated in the MAC again, came here and dominated. And there's just he has an essence about him that is, it's kind of hard to put your thumb on. That's the dude I want to go to war with. You know, if I'm the pass rusher, if I'm the linebacker, that's the guy I want behind me, because I know exactly what I'm getting, and I'm getting everything that kid has on every rep. Mm-hmm. I think he goes in the top 10. And I won't be shocked if it's to the Atlanta Falcons at 8.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We'll have more wrap-up regarding the Senior Bowl activities in Mobile next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
I don't know how you don't enjoy this for this time of year unless you like the snow and the ice and the cold. None of that in sight. How about even warmer temperatures after 55 today, 55 tomorrow, mostly sunny both days, overnight lows in the upper 20s. Wednesday will be near 60, sunny. Thursday will be near 60 and mostly sunny. And Friday will cloud over with highs in the mid-50s. Meteorologist Ray Stajic from the Weather Channel.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, you know? Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out the okay. Oh, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
This year, surprise your love with more than just flowers. Send them a fun, out-of-the-box floral arrangement from Stargazer's Floral Designs. Check out their unique designs at stargazersfloraldesigns.com or call 828-254-3621 to place your order.
63 Americans a day die by gun suicide. By storing our guns safely, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo, we can give our loved ones a second chance at life. Learn more at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, cash. That's cash. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. The Sportsocracy.
It fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
The Sportsocracy.
Take it back!
Beer City's best sports talk.
It is gross.
Just earlier.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery. Live from the Ingalls studio.
We are back at the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. We are live in the Ingalls studio on 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And you can hear ESPN Asheville and the Sportsocracy everywhere you go on the iHeart Radio app. You can see us live on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat. Senior Bowl is in the books. And next big item here, I guess we still have some of these other smaller bowls to go, the smaller All-Star games, or was this the last one?
This is the last one.
Oh, okay. So the
others have already happened.
All right.
Yeah, and there were some guys to talk about out of that. I have the game film from both. I have not watched it. I had a couple friends that were at each one, so I've gotten some game notes. There's not a ton there.
So the next step, end of the month, is Indianapolis.
Yes.
The Combine.
Yes.
And hopefully we may have some news for you coming regarding the Combine.
We hope so. Based on the Senior Bowl, I have come to realize that basically this whole industry is just, it ain't what you know, it's who you know.
So daily draft today, stock up, stock down from the Senior Bowl week.
I'm going to let you go first.
Okay.
Just simply because you weren't there.
Right. And I appreciate you always letting me go first in these matters because you have a greater grasp of the ins and outs and the implications of these. I guess my top spot, I'll just go loser for all of the quarterbacks that aren't the top three. I was thinking about going winner for the top three quarterbacks, but that really doesn't matter because they're going to go with the top
1, 2, 3
three
anyway.
And I didn't really want to say, because Bo Nix, I guess, is the name that I've heard the most out of the ones that actually participated. I didn't want to make him a winner, so I'm just going to make the whole class of quarterbacks, not the top ones, the losers.
All right, so can I at this point, I almost want to go, who wants to be a millionaire? And I'm gonna throw you a lifeline.
Okay.
Because I think you're close.
I'm in the neighborhood of where I should be.
You're close.
Okay.
But you're forgetting one.
Okay.
One of the biggest winners of this weekend to me was J.J. McCarthy. Because he didn't do a thing.
And I thought that's why I couldn't make him a winner, because he didn't even show.
All right. So he didn't show because he didn't get invited.
Right.
He declared so late that I'm not going to say they didn't send him an invite, but it would have been really difficult. So McCarthy was talked about a lot. I heard no consensus whatsoever. But here's what I did keep hearing. McCarthy wouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. McCarthy's got that lively arm like Penix. Bo Nix doesn't have that. McCarthy is accurate in the short passing game. and takes some heat off of it and has some touch, which Penix does not have in large part. J.J. McCarthy was a winner of this weekend or of this week by not showing up. I'm not sure he doesn't go in the top 15. I think he's the fourth quarterback off the board, and I will be reasonably shocked if he's not, because we saw the warts of Penix and we saw the warts of Bo Nix. The other thing that nobody seems to be talking about is the medical on Michael Penix. We talked about it a lot.
Did you?
He talked about it a lot. And he basically said, yeah, I've been hurt a lot. And I know that some teams aren't going to love that, and some teams aren't going to love the medical. And I feel great. I hadn't been hurt in 2 years. You've blown out 2 knees, and you've destroyed 2 shoulders. I don't see a way Michael Penix goes in the first round. I don't. If he had come out and just lit it up, I think it would have been a discussion. I think Penix now is – I won't be shocked if he falls into that Hendon Hooker territory. And I've continuously made that comparison because they seem very apt to me. Of the raw is really good, but everything I saw you do that was super high level like that, you were way older. You got hurt a lot when you were younger. And then you got to Washington where you've got Rosengarten, who I saw this week, Fautano, who I was supposed to see this week, but he withdrew, and just a slew of other guys. You had the best offensive line in the country this year. I don't know how you're going to hold up behind not that, because the only time I've ever seen you behind not that, you got hurt 4 years in a row. I don't think Penix hurt himself. I don't necessarily think he helped himself either. Bo Nix, it was pretty much a net neutral, but he did have a command that I thought he was the best one of the week. Didn't know it was all that close. But I kept thinking, man, J.J. McCarthy's stock just keeps rising because there's all these teams in that Vikings, Raiders, Broncos spot. One of you is going to fall in love with the quarterback, and I cannot help but think it's J.J. McCarthy. My biggest winner of the week was all of the teams whose offensive lines just absolutely suck. I could see a path that a team takes 4 O-linemen in the first 4 rounds.
Okay.
Washington Commanders.
I was going to say Charlotte or Carolina Panthers. Do that.
I don't think they have 4 picks in the first 4 rounds.
That's true. They don't. They only have 3.
But
actually, they only have 2, right?
But you will get one at 33. So there's that. There are so many more linemen in this class than I ever thought. I wasn't a huge buyer into Tyler Guyton before this week. I didn't really know what to think about Talise Fuaga, and I mean, I'm sure you noticed that he was not one of my lineman winners. I don't necessarily think he changed his projection as much as everybody else does. I had him in the top 15 anyway. I don't think he's breaking the top 10. Now, one of the bigger questions of the process for me is going to be who goes first, Olaf Shanu or Talise Fuaga. I know what I think. That did not seem to be a common opinion.
Really?
I have Fashanu still ahead of Fuaga. Not convincingly, but it ain't changing.
But that many were swayed by the Senior Bowl week for Fuaga?
I said this to a couple people over the week that I know. I just so happen to know that Joe Douglas really likes Talise Fuaga. And a pretty common rebuttal was you just better hope he makes it that far, because I'm not so sure he's going to. Now, for me, I saw so many. Okay, I don't really care. Like, if Fashanu falls to me at 10, yay! And if none of the 3 do, I'll happily trade down. And trust me, there'll be takers, because if 3 linemen go in the top 9, somebody fell.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, here's the thing. Now you got 3 linemen, you got 3 quarterbacks, you got 3 receivers. What'd I leave out there?
Leatu Latu.
That's one.
Yeah.
Dallas Turner's another.
Yeah, there you go.
Jared Verse is another. Kenyon Mitchell is another. I'd do that for a minute. There are several really good players that I left out there, and I could see a team being like, okay, well, we get to 10. It's not as expensive. Move back. And I'm looking at the Titans now going, you know what? If you fall in love with Malik Neighbors or you fall in love with Roma Dunze, I don't think that means you get left out in the cold for an offensive tackle in the second round. I don't.
Okay.
So those teams were huge winners to me.
All right. Number 2.
This one's gonna require. Red said you didn't mention Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers was the name I was looking for.
Oh yeah,
yeah. 9 players, 9 picks. I didn't mention Brock Bowers, who's my 2. 2 overall.
Mm-hmm.
This one's going to require a little bit of explanation. And I met a bunch of guys that work directly with this team. I think the big winner of this weekend was the Chicago Bears.
Okay, why?
You have 2 picks in the top 9. I've known the whole time that the top end of this draft was real good. I've told you I think there's 12 franchise players in this class.
Yes.
That makes 9 really palatable. Because I'm not so sure that they're stuck there. They're taking Caleb Williams, short of he tells them, I'm not playing for you. And if he does tell them that, you can basically hijack Washington and take Marvin Harrison Jr. at 2. I'm not sure that's not your better path, but we'll get to that eventually. I look at Chicago and go, the world is your oyster. And if you fall in love with Caleb Williams, great. You take him basically universally. All the Bears guys told me we have to take Caleb Williams at 1 to reset the rookie clock. He could be this. And it almost to me started sounding like it doesn't even feel like you necessarily believe in Caleb Williams. It's just you believe that little that Justin Fields is good enough to get you to move off this pick. But then every single one of them kept talking about 9. We can take Leatu Latu and turn our edge rushers with him and Montez Sweat into just dogs. Great chance Roma Dunze falls to 9. And you put him out there with DJ Moore, and now whoever your quarterback is, I've got 2 high-level wide receivers and Cole Kmet and Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson. That's intriguing. Or one of the linemen fall to you. Or none of them fall to you, and Brock Bowers or somebody like that sitting there, and you can just auction that pick off and keep just accumulating capital. I found myself thinking a lot about the Bears over the course of the week. Just, man, you chose a great time to perform one of the great heists in the history of the NFL on the Carolina Panthers. And I also kept thinking about the Panthers going, man, wouldn't it be nice if you had that number 1 pick? You got all these teams that seem to be good, bad, or indifferent, seem to really either like Drake May or like Jaden Daniels or like Caleb Williams. Man, wouldn't it be great if you just waited a year? By the way, that's the number 1 reason that I think Chicago, Washington, and New England are walking out of this with a quarterback, and ain't nobody trading up there to get them. I heard that. Every time somebody saw what city I was from, they went, you're a Panther guy, aren't you? Yep. Man, how bad do you feel about that trade? Well, it's not good. It's not. It's the steady just angina. I got the angina.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I think about it.
It's enough to do it. All right, Chicago Bears, a winner. Because so many options. I like it. My next selection, I'm gonna do another stock down. And it's Kalen King.
Yeah. Whoa.
Looking at all of this, I don't remember where you had him coming in to this to the process here, but
25 overall, I think.
I saw a lot of lists that just among corners, he was number 1 or number 2.
He was, and then this year got steadily worse and worse and worse and worse.
And now,
then we came to the climax, which was this week, and you remember when Christian Okoye showed up at Arrowhead for the first time, and they let him beat that big drum? Every receiver in Mobile was the stick. He was the drum.
He's just getting beat.
There are people in prison for doing less than happened to Kalen King on a regular basis.
Don't do crimes.
Don't do crimes. Tez Walker, that was the only good he had all week was against Kalen King. I also love that they brought them together and you were able to pick who you would go up against in one-on-ones to decide the team battle at the end. Every receiver picked Kalen King. All of them went, I'm going to go against that guy because I'm going to win. I want the ball and I'm going to score.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah, I could see him falling to the third day. That's how much money he cost himself over the course of the second half of this season. And it started with him against Marvin Harrison Jr. And I defended him. And then I watched him basically every requisite week, and I defended him less and less and less and less. And then we got to this week, and I went, there's no defending that. I'm not sure I couldn't have just high-pointed a fade on you, bruh, because you look like you forgot how to play football. Have you touched a basketball recently that glowed orange? I saw that in Space Jam. It didn't go so well.
Didn't go so well. And then stock up, stock down, 2024 Senior Bowl. Here's another one, low-hanging fruit, but I got to take it because it's Tyler Guyton. I didn't hear this name much before this week started. I mean, he's up there in the rankings.
He was in the back end of the first round.
But it wasn't like it because immediately the stories started coming out of, holy cow, this guy's popped onto the scene. You want to watch a guy rise into the top 12, top 10 of this draft. This is a guy that possibly could do it. Now, I think that all the hype on that got cut back after the couple of days, but there was a lot of talk in that first Senior Bowl set of practices that this kid is setting it on fire.
I think this was the first time that I realized that I'm a little bit of a unicorn because I'm scout and media. And I started listening to all the media guys losing their mind about Tyler Guyton, and I went, excuse me, sir. How did you not already know about him? He was the 5 at worst. I didn't see anybody that had him lower than 5. And I think that what happened was that he was so good and he wasn't a household name that the media latched onto it and went, oh, God, we got all these teams that need linemen. And he may not have helped his stock more than 5 or 6 picks. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could see him falling out of the top 20. That's how good his class is. It just depends. And what burned him was you had so many Dominic Poonies and so many Christian Jones and so many Christian Haynes. No, they're not tackles, but they are offensive linemen. And now you've got so many of them that you had a great week. And I think a team and a fan base is going to feel so much better about drafting you than they would have. But all the scouts are sitting there going, we already knew that. He was better than I thought. I'm not going to sit here and lie to your face and say he wasn't. But I don't know that he was that much better.
Mm-hmm.
I had him at 20. I don't remember who I had taken him in that last mock draft, but he was in the back end of the first round. And I think now his ceiling is he could go as high as 10 if the Jets got stuck there and 3 linemen went in the top 9. I just don't really see how that's going to happen.
Stock up, stock down for the 2024 Senior Bowl. Now that it has passed, we will continue with the daily draft coming up next here on ESPN Asheville.
When you get your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt, prepare to shout, Jackson Hew, yeah, from the rooftops. In the event you don't get your biggest refund, you'll get your money back, plus $100.
Win $1,000 in inflation compensation.
I just won $1,000.
And kick your new year into high gear.
What? No way! I try every day. That's great.
Happening now.
Woo!
Brought to you by PSG. PSG Traffic Services exists to save lives by providing safe work zones and to provide all your traffic needs. PSG is hiring team members. Excellent pay and benefits. Call 910-821-1720 or visit psgtrafficservices.com.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, you know? Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out the okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Are you ready? Stargazers Designs can assure your Valentine receives gorgeous flowers to make their day truly memorable. Place your order today at stargazersfloraldesigns.com.
The NFL playoffs are here, and there's no better way to stay up to date on the latest from our league than with the Around the NFL podcast. Join me, Dan Hansis, and my buds, Mark Sessler and Greg Rosenthal, for news and fresh content all playoffs long. We've been doing this together for over 10 years, and the playoffs always offer up something we've never seen before. We'll preview and recap every game as we make our way through the playoffs, and to Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58. Listen to the Around the NFL podcast on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Heed the call.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
We're back counting down to kickoff. Let's look at today's 3 keys to premium pre-gaming with Beast Unleashed, presented by Monster Brewing. Number 1, beat the heat.
Unleash the beast with bold, familiar flavors, 0 caffeine and 0 sugar.
Number 2, running the option.
There's 4 to choose from: White Haze, Peach Perfect, Scary Berries, and my personal favorite, Mean Green.
And number 3, at 6% ABV, Max Protect.
Always drink responsibly, and you must be 21 or over.
Beast Unleashed, available at your local retailer.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at ClarissaSellsWNC.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or ClarissaSellsWNC@gmail.com.
The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man.
You are back in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. It's daily draft time. It's stock up, stock down. From the Senior Bowl, so far, I've gone with J.J. McCarthy, we decided, is the winner of the quarterback class. I wanted to go loser for the whole class, but, you know, I like to hand out winners rather than losers.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is that there's never going to be a loser because teams are so desperate for quarterback that somebody's going to do it. I kept watching Spencer Rattler going, I cannot wait to hear an NFL team try to justify to me why they drafted him.
I mean, he at least made a good, that back shoulder throw for the touchdown in the game.
Yeah, here's what they left out. Rosemy Jack-Saint was 8 yards behind the corner. I was staring directly at him as that went, and I'm just going, throw the damn ball. And then he had to slow down.
He did. He had to stop and adjust to the ball to come back to
It's like, that's not a good throw. He just so happened to be the one that threw it. That's a positive play for Jack-Saint, not for Spencer god-awful Rattler.
And then I went Caleb King, stock down, who got burned over and over and over throughout the process here.
Caleb King needs a salve of some kind because
I went stock up for Tyler Guyton, the tackle from Oklahoma, with my last selection. Jeremy's 2 selections have been stock up, both stock ups. The first one, teams needing offensive linemen, because a lot of them popped during the Senior Bowl week. And then the Bears, because, well, they have 2 picks in the top 10 in a generational draft.
You chose a good year to have a good year. My next one's also a stock up.
Okay.
It's Brock Bowers and Jatavian Sanders. I'm going to say this, and I mean it. I love Yaheem Bell, and I think he did help himself this week because he's got really soft hands. But he's more of that like H-back type that I'm not sure I see going before round 4. I'm not sure Jatavian Sanders doesn't end up in the first round. That's how bad the rest of them are. It became like a running joke of, can any of these guys actually play? You had asked me, somebody asked me about Sennett from Kansas State. He's fine, but he's a jag. Just a guy. That's how I felt about all of them. Theo Johnson got a lot of love, and I just kept telling Mullet Sr., man, I want to love him because he is a big, in the words of the great Ric Flair, he's a big damn dude, but he's jag, just a guy. And all I could think about was Brock Bowers is going in the top 5. If he doesn't, he won't make it far out of the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And
Los
Jatavian
Angeles
Sanders
Chargers has been
that's the one that makes the most sense. And I look at Jatavian Sanders and go, you're so clearly the 2. Because then it gets into, like Rob Johnson pointed out, Cade Stover, Yaheem Bell, Theo Johnson. every single one of those guys is late day 2, day 3. I don't think we'll have one go in the second or third round. I think it starts in the 4th. And then there'll be a run because you have 5 guys that are very, very similar. Talent-wise. They do different things, but they're very similar talent-wise.
All right, so stock up for Bowers and Jatavian Sanders.
There's another one that's pretty obvious, but I'm going to give you the layup.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to let you have that one. And I'm going to go a self-serving one. Jeff Ulbrich, stock up. Every person I talked to that's been to the Senior Bowl a lot said he ran the best camp we've ever seen. It was light. It was fun. There was no wasted time whatsoever. I thought the entire 3 days, I'm being biased because he's a Jet guy. He will be a head coach in this league, and I think he will be a really, really good one. I was so impressed by because this is not easy to do. You got to understand, you're cobbling together a coaching staff. I met a handful of the coaches in the bar in my hotel because a lot of them were staying in the same hotel I was. Some of them are college guys. Some of them are former NFL players. A lot of these are guys that don't necessarily know each other. And this was not easy. And it was so impressive to me to watch how he really put a spotlight on every one of these players and let the players shine. And then he didn't talk much. He was not very vocal. He did not make this an about me thing. I was so impressed by Jeff Ulbrich and so proud to call him the defensive coordinator of the team that I just so happen to be a fan of. I had to get it in there. And since I have to give you the layup because, well, it's your team and, well, you deserve that.
It's my team?
Well, it's one of your teams. You have like 7 college teams.
I have 2. It's not that many. I know what one you're talking about. Stock down. Tez Walker.
Okay, so I've already been asked in the chat about why we hadn't picked him yet. I'm going to be honest with him. I don't think he hurt himself that bad. Okay. I think he's exactly what we thought he was. He is Deshaun Jackson. He just so happens to be a little taller, and he needs to learn to catch the damn ball. He had 2 hit him directly in the gut. It should also tell you something that the first play of the game was a deep shot to Tez Walker. You know why? Because he was open a lot. Now, if you can't catch it, then it doesn't really matter how open you are. I think that's overblown. I really do. I think
he couldn't catch.
No, he had some bad drops for sure. But you also got to remember, this is a guy that only played a handful of games at a high level. Tez Walker was basically a small school player that just so happened to be allowed to wear a Power 5 helmet at the Senior Bowl. He only played, 5 games at Carolina?
Yes.
And it showed. But good Lord, he was open all the time. Nobody could defend him. But you got to learn to catch. And I'll be honest with you, this is a little bit of a lazy comparison. He kind of reminds me of A.T. Perry. The talent is so obvious, you just got to put it all together at the same time. Perry was further along, but he'd also played at Wake Forest for several years.
For 4 years.
And I think if Tez Walker may not have done himself any favors by coming out. And he didn't do himself any favors this week, but I'm not sure the scouts dinged him as much as the media did.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had a lot of drops that you saw. He also had a lot of good plays that you didn't see.
They were raving about him on day 1. And is that because he got matched up against Kalen King on day 1 primarily? Hurt. And then
it was,
day 2
it was a great cycle.
I was going to say, day 2, did he end up getting a whole lot of Quinyon Mitchell? And then that's why.
I would have to go back through the notes to see. He lined up against a lot of guys, but he was open a lot. So I don't think he was as highly thought of as some people thought. I never saw him as a first-round pick because I can't see how you'd take him ahead of Keon Coleman. I can't see how you would take him ahead of Ladd McConkey, who I haven't said his name yet, but man, that kid can catch and that kid can run a route.
Would you like for me to make my next selection?
You should proceed.
Stock up. Georgia's Ladd McConkey.
Should have just gone Georgia receivers.
Yeah, I mean, Rosemy-Jacksaint having the weekend that he did, I'm not going to say it was surprising, but maybe a little bit. It was a little surprising. It didn't really shock me all that much to see Ladd getting the pub that he did, because everybody just seemed gobsmacked at the fact that this guy is always open and he can always catch it and he can make the play. It's all I've seen from him at Georgia for the last 3 years. He has reminded me, and I know that this is going to be lazy comparison because he's a wide receiver, but he reminded me a lot of Hunter Renfrow, of just a guy that wasn't. He's not imposing, he's not intimidating, but he goes out there and he gets his job done, and he's going to find a way to get it done. He's going to find a way to get open and make the big play. And Ladd did that a lot at Georgia.
I heard zero lies in anything you just said. Heard absolutely zero lies in anything you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've only got one pick left, and I want to take like 40 different things here. But I'm going to simplify it down and say it's stock down for running backs, but it's not what you think.
Mm-hmm.
You had so many guys that had good weeks. Running back has officially become a problem without a solution. There are so many guys that I think are so talented. And I could wax poetic about the running back class until it is time for this show to go off the air, and I could pick it back up at noon tomorrow and do it again for 3 solid hours. And that's the problem, is that we have so many guys that can fill a situational role in the NFL for 3 or 4 years, because that's what running backs are asked to do. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it, because I like so many. I got closer to the running backs than I did to any other position. And it wasn't really intentional. I was just really locked in on watching them. And then I came across a couple other families in the stands or on the street, or one of them was in a bar. Who's shocked that I met a lot of people in a bar? Sorry. I just noticed I said that 3 times, and I'm sure somebody's going, you seem to be in bars a lot. First time? You new here? I like so many of these kids, and I want it to be so different, but it's not. And it's going to get worse as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily see a path that we're looking at running back 2 or 3 years from now, as guys have to come out the first second they get, because you want as little tread off the tires as humanly possible in college. And then you get 4-year deals, and you're just done. I could see a path that there's not a running back over 28 years old in the NFL 3 years from now. I could see a path to that. Of just every team refuses to pay them. We're not going to do it. I don't care how good you are. I'm not going to do it. Because every year there's 30 of them. I've got 32 draftable running backs.
That's a lot.
Every guy that was at the Senior Bowl, every one of them was draftable. And all of them did really. I haven't even mentioned Marshawn Lloyd yet. He missed the All-Senior Bowl team by just a little bit. And the only reason he missed it, I couldn't take anybody else off. I could have gone 40 deep. I really could have. I could have gone 40. I could have an all-Senior Bowl second team. I should do that.
Yeah.
Not that we spend an hour on radio about it, but you never know. I might just get a wild hair because I'm going to be at the station.
You do an extra podcast on it or something. You never
Boom.
Know. Never know.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic week. It has led me to a real understanding of the process that I never had. And I'm so thankful to Monster and Ingalls and Clarissa Hyatt Zach and all of you that made that possible. That was a dream come true for me, to get to take my dad, who enjoyed it way more than I ever thought. My mother was terrified that he was going to be bored to death, and he was locked in. I think at times more than I was. I would find we'd just be driving around the city and go, "Oh, what do you think about 79?" Like, yeah, apple don't fall far from the tree,
like,
does
yeah,
it?
I saw it too, Dad.
Oh, yeah. And I'm proud that you saw it. It was a great time, and much content coming out from that.
And you'll find it all right here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400, and, of course, on the YouTubes. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel, join us in the chat. Coming up next, most important message of the day.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
I don't know how you don't enjoy this for this time of year unless you like the snow and the ice and the cold. None of that in sight. How about even warmer temperatures after 55 today, 55 tomorrow, mostly sunny both days, overnight lows in the upper 20s. Wednesday will be near 60, sunny. Thursday will be near 60 and mostly sunny. And Friday will cloud over with highs in the mid-50s. Meteorologist Ray Stajic from the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes.
When you get your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt, prepare to shout, Jackson Hew, yeah, from the rooftops. In the event you don't get your biggest refund, you'll get your money back, plus $100.
Hi, my name is Alani. A little thing I like about the Spicy Deluxe sandwich is that you taste the crunch, you taste the pepper jack cheese melting, and you taste the spicy flavors in the sandwich. I'm telling you, 10 out of 10.
Hi, my name's Enrique. A little thing I love about Chick-fil-A's Spicy Deluxe sandwich is you get that rich flavor of the chicken and definitely that nice, tangy, warm bite. It's the perfect harmony of spiciness and taste.
Order the Spicy Deluxe sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Get ready for the big game with a free iHeartRadio app, the official partner of the NFL Podcast Network, featuring the biggest names in the game like Ross Tucker and his daily NFL podcast, NFL Now, and many more. Search NFL and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good. Get ready for our 2024 iHeart Podcast Awards, presented by The Hartford, live at South by Southwest. March 11th, we'll honor the very best in podcasting from the past year, and you'll help decide who wins Podcast of the Year. Vote now at iHeartPodcast.awards.com.
The Hartford Small Business Insurance is the presenting partner of the 2024 iHeart Podcast Awards live at South by Southwest. To learn more or start a quote, visit thehartford.com/smallbusiness. With insurance designed for your small business, the Bucks got your back.
All right, people, it's Valentine's Day. Everything has to be perfect.
At Ingalls, we know that not every Valentine's Day is four-star perfection, with string quartets and swanky restaurants.
My boyfriend bought me flowers.
That it's not the money you spend or the elaborate lengths you go to.
Happy Valentine's Day!
It just has to come from the heart. Ingalls, we're with you every step of the way.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch. The best season of the year is here.
Tailgate season.
Monster Brewing presents this season's MVP.
The Beast Unleashed.
With 4 bold, familiar flavors.
With 0 caffeine and 0 sugar.
Beast Unleashed is your new pregame ritual.
With white haze, mean green, peach perfect, and scary berries, there's a flavor for every fan. The Beast Unleashed.
6% alcohol by volume. Unleashed responsibly. Must be 21 or over. Beast Unleashed available at your local retailer. It is ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy, and it is that time for the most important message of the day.
Don't do crimes!
Did you by any chance go back and listen to Football Farley doing the Don't Do Crimes?
I did not.
He nailed it. He got a little high pitched on him a little bit, but
he impersonates me doing that all the
time. He nailed it. I was impressed. Today's Don't Do Crime story does come to us from the lovely state of Florida, Volusia County, Florida, where a 31-year-old man was seen in broad daylight walking his dog across the street. And the accounts from the witnesses goes as such. So he's walking his dog across the street in front of the first witness. And first witness sees him, or the dog stops to sniff the tire of the car. The guy then takes the chain that he's walking the dog with, slacks the dog with it. Big no-no. Well, it continued. Then he starts getting followed by bystanders at this gas station on the corner of the street. It comes to a confrontation where the guy keeps hitting the dog. The chain, he hit the dog so hard with the chain at one point that the chain broke. At that point, the dog seeks refuge behind one of the guys that's at the gas station pumping his gas, and he's trying to hold him off. That's where the video picks up. And the guy takes a swing at someone who is at least twice his size. This guy is massive. He cold-cocked him right in the jaw. Then a 13-year-old jumps in and tries to hit the 31-year-old that just assaulted this other guy. There was a couple that got the dog, got him in the car. He goes and he pushes off the 13-year-old. Then he tries to attack the couple. And then 5 dudes beat the ever-living sin out of this guy. And it is the greatest story that I have seen. Because, I mean, we should all know. That's one of the lowest things you can do in this life is to take your anger and frustration out on a helpless animal. And the fact that 4 people in Florida went, not under my watch, and beat this guy bloody until the cops came, it's just great karma.
That is a term we use on this show, and it is FAFO.
He did.
If you fa, you shall fo.
Yes, he did.
It's ironic because my story, it plays the same way. It's about one Joshua Harvey and his what is described as paramour, which I think is Greenville County for drug-addled girlfriend, and her name was Rosie Smith.
Uh-huh.
They were spotted Gray Court around 9 a.m. on Monday. They were in a black Honda sedan, and the driver was driving erratically. So deputies attempted to pull the car over, and they identified the driver as Mr. Harvey. He just decided, I'm not going to do that, which was his fault, and he led officers on a pursuit across the Greenville County line. They called off the chase, and they said, you know what? We'll radio this in. We'll find the feller. Because the tags came back to the guy, and they saw him. So they knew this is who we're after. So they surveil his house. Around 2:45, they find a Honda sedan driving erratically. The only thing is that now it's a white Honda sedan, and they notice that the paint is wet. They spray painted the car like 2 rocket surgeons and went, hey, y'all, let's go drunk driving again. And this time, she was driving. Leads police on a chase, school traffic, they call it off. But wait, there's more, because they went to Highway 14 and did it again.
Oh, gosh.
They were in 3 police chases in one day, and I haven't even gotten to the weird part of this story yet. They disabled the vehicle. They spray painted this car so poorly and had driven so fast that it started as a black car, then it became a white, wet car, and by the end of it, it was a half white, half black car because the spray paint was coming off. They pull these 2 out of the car, and would you like to guess what they found in the vehicle? And before you answer, just understand that it's probably not what you think I'm going to say.
A child.
No.
Oh, I feel like
but you were closer than you would think. Some people call these children even though they're not.
As a dog.
Yep, but we're not done. There was a comma there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a dog and a cat and 4 live chickens. They were handed over to animal control. Harvey was charged with failure to stop. Smith was charged with failure to stop. DUI, 2 counts of ill treatment of animals, driving under a suspended license, and other charges. So let me see if I got this straight. You went drunky driving at 9 o'clock in the morning. That is red flag number 1. See cops? Oh, shoot, we got to get out of here. Spray paint the car. Oh, but we only got this fence paint. Spray it anyway and grab the animals. We got some running to do. But you drive. I'm drunk. It's like I'm super drunk. You're only kind of super drunk. I'm super duper drunk. Let's go boot scooting around Greenville County.
We're going to go run away from the cops. We need the cat, the dog, and all the chickens. Not all of them.
You pick your favorite 4. We're calling the colonel, and he's getting the other 20.
We can't leave Nancy at home. She got mad last time.
Honey, don't stop at the KFC drive-thru. Clucky's getting angry. That was his mall.
Wow.
And that's what I bring to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Toot, Duty Toot. I found that story last week, and I went, that's one. And boys and girls, I'm just going to be honest with you. I got 4 more.
Nice.
And they get screwier and screwier as we go along.
Stockpiling them up. It's like the best of Don't Do Crimes here in the Sportsocracy this week. Awesome.
Just know, you stop at Popeyes later. That wing meal had a traumatic last few days.
Tonight is opening night of the Super Bowl festivities in Las Vegas. Opening night where all of the players and the coaches have their only media availability of the year. And this is going to be the fun little radio row where we get to hear interns ask questions of Christian McCaffrey, like, what's your favorite color?
That's Sports Take ESPN.
If you could play in any era of the NFL, why would you play with Tom Brady? Stupid question after stupid question on the way tonight. I'm curious.
I want, if I ever were to get on Radio Row, and I'm pretty sure I will guarantee that I never will based on the next thing get ready to come out of my mouth. I have no interest in asking that question. I want to ask questions that you're not prepared for. Let's say you got drunk at 9 a.m.
Bingo.
You had a dog, a cat, and 4 chickens. How many of those would you put in the car after you spray painted it and then run away from bullies?
Right. I want these guys thinking on their toes. I want my interview questions to be a lot like a Wonderlic test. You never know where it's going to come to next. You never know what subject is going to be next. And you just got to roll with it. You got 5 seconds on the fly. Tell me what you're thinking.
All right, we have a Royal Rumble of San Francisco 49ers. Who wins?
George Kittle.
He'd get hurt. He's the CM Punk of the 49ers Royal Rumble.
Then Fred Warner.
He's Whittle, but I get it.
Because I feel like he would be able to take Javon Hargrave over the top rope. Right?
I feel like Trent Williams is the right call, but
no, he's one that they'd all gang up on, right? You would have all of the secondary guys would gang up on the big left tackle to get him out of there, like they do with the Big Show every time.
Patrick Holt said that it's Kyle Juszczyk. Kyle Juszczyk would be too busy talking to the ring announcer about the tights his wife made him, and he'd just get looked.
That's
get
the
it.
Best answer that has come up so far.
I get it. And trust me, Kyle Juszczyk would punch me in the face. I would cry. It would be bad.
No doubt.
But that was funny, and you know it.
Kyle Juszczyk comes in as the 22nd man in the Royal Rumble. He's the one that clears the ring, right? He's the one that clears out everybody except for 6 of them.
He's the Braun Breaker.
Right. Yes. Whose kid is he?
Rick Steiner.
Rick Steiner's kid. That's right. Somebody was telling me that over the weekend. I was like, I missed Rick Steiner's kid.
I also love the fact
and then I saw a picture of him, and I went, holy cow, Rick Steiner's kid is like as old as Scott Norton was when I was a kid.
Why is Rick Steiner's kid look like a perfect blend of Scott after he discovered that needles are not just good for taking blood, and Rick. I also love that was Brock Lesnar's spot, and they went, you know what? He didn't show up. You do it. You do it. Okay.
How many questions, how big of a storyline is this going to be? This story just came out about, 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. 49ers displeased with their practice facilities. So they're practicing at UNLV. UNLV has a turf field, but they also just laid fresh sod on top of the turf. And now apparently the San Francisco 49ers are having issues. Oh. And it's been a big thing of they're coming off the practice field complaining that they don't have good facilities to practice on.
Well, you're whining about the practice field, Chiefs by 100.
Yeah. It's the first storyline of the week.
Listen, San Francisco. Kansas City has had to deal with Tay-Tay and Brittany and Jackson Mahomes. You can deal with a little loose grass, bruh.
Actually, I think that was the name of my high school band, Little Loose Grass.
I think it's the name of your mornings as well.
What are you, a cop?
Oh, it smells like Pine Sol and crimes in here.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM at 1400. We will take a quick break, and when we come back, oh, wait, Andreas Pinkney, he's got another wrestling reference here. Trent Williams is the Kane from the 90s. Everybody jumps on him. Yeah, I got it right. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Anjali.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just got an alert for a strange charge on my card.
No problem. We make sure you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases on your Discover card. Let's see. Did you purchase something from a t-shirt cannon store yesterday?
Absolutely not. No, I already have like 3.
$0 fraud liability guarantee. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard. Limitations apply.
QC Kinetics patient Robert Patterson, a veteran and business owner, struggled at work and in the gym with chronic, agonizing shoulder pain.
Those injuries just continue to nag, and if you don't treat them, they just get worse. And I just kind of abused my body for a long time, and it finally had said enough is enough.
That's okay, because QC Kinetics tells your pain, hey, enough is enough. Their regenerative treatments bring you relief by helping restore and repair damaged tissue with no drugs, no downtime, and best of all, no surgery.
I was able to exceed the goals that I had previously attained in the gym. It was absolutely worth its weight in gold, so I could continue to live life without limitation.
Ready to get lasting relief from your joint pain? Call QC Kinetics to learn more about how natural biologic treatments can get you lasting results. Call now. It's a free consultation.
828-333-9517. QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Nothing says I love you like a clean home. This Valentine's Day, call the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Right now, mention ESPN Asheville and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $109, plus a free hallway. Book online at ZeroResAsheville.com.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at ClarissaSellsWNC.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or ClarissaSellsWNC@gmail.com.
The Ingles 2024 Southern Conference Downtown Dribble and Kids Fest, presented by Champion Credit Union, will be held Saturday, March 9th, 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Roger McGuire Green at Pack Square Park. The Downtown Dribble will feature interactive games, inflatables, pep bands, cheerleaders, and a parade. Each participant will receive a basketball, Downtown Dribble t-shirt, and a ticket to the noon session quarterfinal basketball games. Check-in will begin at 9:30 a.m. at Roger McGuire Green. To register, visit downtowndribble.eventbrite.com.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need, and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
The Sportsocracy.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
All right, that's almost day one of Super Bowl week in the books for us.
And we barely talked about the game. You know why? Because like many of you, just get to the game. Let's just play it.
Yeah, we're here for the festivities. Just kind of enjoy the frivolity of the week leading up here.
I despise the week leading up to the Super Bowl.
I don't know why.
The media day, and it's like you beat this to death.
What else are you going to do?
Our goal was to treat this like any other week. It's football season, so, got overreaction Monday today. We reacted to the Senior Bowl because it's the only thing that happened. I feel like at some point in the week we need to get to a Futures Power Rankings. We haven't done that yet. We do it every year.
Mm-hmm. Power Rankings Tuesday is coming up tomorrow.
That sounds like a good call. As opposed to, hey, what do you think about the Jake Moody versus Harrison Butker matchup in the Super Bowl? I'll take your answer off there.
Are we breaking down the kickers now?
I've just always looked at the Super Bowl and gone, why did we move this? I mean, there was always a week off. I get it. But why is there a week off?
There wasn't always a week off. We didn't used to have a week off.
I thought we always had a week off, but the Pro Bowl was the week after.
No. Back when the Bucks were in it, you didn't have that day off or that week off.
And
you went straight
the
into
first
it.
time, not the second.
Yeah, no, that was 2003. Yeah. The 2003
I would get the boy
Super Bowl. I think it was maybe a few years after that they started doing the week in between. It's a long wait. It's a long wait, especially when you do have a matchup that a lot of people are just kind of, okay. I mean, same two teams. Like you said, they've been here. 4 out of 5 years in the Super Bowl for the Kansas City Chiefs. And what did we say, 3 out of the last 4 years or 4 out of the last 5 years that San Francisco's at least been in the conference championship game.
And it's the second time they've been in the Super Bowl. Second time they played Kansas City in 4 or 5 years?
4 years.
4 years.
It's been 4 years.
Patrick Holt asked if we're drafting Super Bowl food items again this year.
Of course.
I mean, I think that's a solid idea.
Mm-hmm.
Although this year, Tank and I are both keto. I'm trying to get back on the keto diet because I was not keto last week. Unless keto is an old Anglo-Saxon word for raging alcoholic, which I don't think it is, but it might be.
I've already decided it's just.
Oh, you're not fighting the good fight?
After the Super Bowl.
We'll
get back to it after the Super Bowl. It's been a busy holiday, extended holiday season. How about that?
So does that mean I need to not bring you a cauliflower potato salad tomorrow?
Oh, no, I will absolutely eat it.
I want to try it.
Sounds good to me.
I'm making a big sandwich salad tonight. So,
sandwich?
Yeah, it was a recipe I got. Restaurant we stopped down there had the best grinder sandwich I think I've ever eaten. And they went, well, we actually make this as a keto bowl too. And they went, don't tell anybody. I'm going to make that as soon as I get home.
Awesome.
And it's going to be awesome.
Well, I can't wait to try it. Wish we could share with everybody, but can't. But we will gladly relay the review to you tomorrow.
We'll also relay more draft stuff. We'll at some point really talk about this game. I think that feels like a good thing to do on, Friday. Maybe Thursday, too. Talk about Carolina beating the smoke off Duke on Thursday. We just got a lot of stuff to do this week.
It was a good weekend. If you didn't enjoy the basketball this weekend, I feel sorry for you.
I did not.
I know you didn't.
I was riding through Atlanta with a Carolina fan who seemed to speed up every time it got what he deemed close, what I deemed to be an absolute blowout. But it got us back here quicker, so I didn't stop it.
I'm doing that thing. You give me 4 teams, and I'll give you the field in college basketball. You give me UConn, Carolina, Tennessee, and Kansas. And I'll give you the field because I think the champion's coming out of those 4. You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Back with you tomorrow from the Ingalls studio at noon.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
I don't know how you don't enjoy this for this time of year unless you like the snow and the ice and the cold. None of that in sight. How about even warmer temperatures after 55 today, 55 tomorrow. Mostly sunny both days, overnight lows in the upper 20s. Wednesday will be near 60, sunny. Thursday will be near 60 and mostly sunny. And Friday will cloud over with highs in the mid-50s. Meteorologist Reese from the Weather Channel.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out Okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
Are you a business owner, CEO, or responsible for marketing? If you are, iHeartMedia can help you reach your goals and find new customers. We reach more consumers in your target area than anyone else, and we can give you access to those potential customers more cost-effectively across radio, digital, podcasting, and social. We'd love to show you how iHeartMedia can work for you. Get started today at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.